They wipe the plaque off the gums, off the teeth, and that way they can go to bed without any problems developing cavities while they sleep.
So let me ask you this: what about a bullet points for parents out there of young children? What do you tell them in terms of providing the best oral care for your child when you're not going to see a dentist?
Um, all right, first of all, I'm going to back up 1 second and say it's very important for you to take your child to a pediatric dentist at the age of 1 or earlier if you see a problem. Genetics plays a big role in this also. I was just talking to a parent 20 minutes ago. He had terrible teeth when he was a child, and now the child luckily does not have any cavities, but I told him she's prone to it. Be sure and clean their teeth very well. Let the dentist check their teeth every 6 months. In my office, I'll see the children under age 3 for an exam and check their progress and make sure they're cleaning right. At age 3, we start the cleaning process, and by the time they're 3, they're used to the office. They feel like it's a safe environment. The parents come back with the child, and we go very slow. I want to make sure it's not like they're going to the pediatrician's office. They're not going to get a shot at the dental office, okay, in the arm, in the leg, or anything. So I want this to be a safe place, a place they feel comfortable, but they have to clean their teeth at home. Parents have to watch out what kind of foods that they're feeding them, like the carbohydrates, the sugars. When I first got out of dental school, putting the child to bed with a bottle full of either orange juice, Coca-Cola, or some other sugary drink was really rampant, especially here in Memphis. That's gotten a lot better, and that's due to public education. So it's watching what they eat, keep their teeth clean, and flossing. Now, flossing is a really interesting concept. People use little floss around their fingers, but there's now called floss sticks. You get them at the drugstore, you get them at the grocery store, and they're much easier to maneuver around the child's teeth. So flossing also is very important to start around age 3 is what I recommend.
Yeah, I have those, and my wife and I use them all the time. My kids are in college, and so we've done our best to ensure oral health and take them to a pediatric dentist every 6 months. I guess it sounds like children's dental care and adult dental care are virtually the same. It seems like brush twice a day, see a dentist every 6 months or so, and just get regular checkups. Am I wrong with that?
No, that's perfectly right. That's exactly right. No, when you and I grew up, I was never told to floss. I mean, I don't think I flossed till I was in my late teens. I didn't think that was necessary. I thought it was only to get chicken or corn from between your teeth. It was never told to me that you're supposed to be flossing to prevent decay. And that's the big change in the past 30 years, 20 years, and people are now flossing a lot more. I drill this into all my patients. And the first question I ask the older patients, because they've been with me maybe a long time, I say, okay, tell me about your flossing. How you doing? And they know I'm going to ask that question. And most of them are very sheepish and say, I flossed about 2 weeks after I saw you, but then I quit. Well, I always drill it into the head. Please floss. It's not for my benefit, it's for yours. So flossing it with those floss sticks is great.
One final thing before we let you go, Dr. Moore. There's a big push to eliminate fluoride in drinking waters across the country. Some municipalities have done it because higher content of fluoride is known to damage the body in a number of different ways. Where do you stand on that?
Oh, I think fluoride in the drinking water is extremely important. We see a huge difference in the number of cavities kids have if they're on well water, say in Tennessee or Mississippi, versus kids who are drinking fluoridated water in Memphis. There's a dramatic change here. I think the misconception is that you're getting too much fluoride. And then the biggest controversy is how much fluoride do you need in toothpaste? Do you want fluoride in toothpaste for a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old? My suggestion is a very small amount of toothpaste, no matter if it's fluoridated or not. but I recommend no fluoride until age 3 or 4 when they can spit. That's the key. If they're swallowing the toothpaste, I don't want them to have the fluoride. That can damage permanent teeth and make their stomach upset. So when they learn to spit, that's when you switch over to fluoridated toothpaste. But the fluoride in drinking water is extremely, I can't emphasize this enough, extremely important to prevent decay. And we're so lucky here in Memphis we have that.
All right, Dr. Meade Moore, we appreciate you and everything that you do at your pediatric dentist business there. Thank you so much for giving us an idea and really kind of shedding a light on how you should treat your children's oral health compared to an adult's oral health. Thanks so very much. Good morning, everyone. Andrew Douglas here in the Action News 5 digital desk. In an era where digital interactions are so much a part of family life, ensuring safety online in that environment online, boy, is that paramount, especially when it comes to children. Snapchat, we understand, is taking some additional measures to ensure safe and engaging online experiences for children ages 13 to 17. And we have someone that will help us really kind of decipher exactly what they're doing. Let's bring in Nana Yadigar, Director of Design at Snapchat, to further explain what they're doing to ensure safety online. Good morning, Nana. Talk about the different safety measures that Snapchat is doing.
Good morning, and thanks so much for having me. At Snapchat, we have a deep responsibility to the safety and well-being of our community, and especially to the younger users who use our app to communicate with their closest friends every single day. And so we recently announced new measures targeting our teen users, including making it more difficult for strangers to contact teens, tools that allow us to remove accounts that promote inappropriate content more quickly, and new educational resources for parents at parents.snapchat.com and for Snapchatters inside of our app.
Nana, let me ask you, how much of a demand has this been for various parents, staff, other people involved? I mean, has there been a demand to say, hey, wait a second, we need to make this safer because there are some lurkers out there who have are trying to do bad things to all sorts of folks?
Yeah, the primary use case of Snapchat is teens who come there to talk to their friends every single day. And so our goal is to make sure we can support that in the safest way possible. And that's why these safeguards are really targeted at things like ensuring strangers have a more difficult time contacting teens, the ability to remove accounts that promote inappropriate content more quickly. And then, of course, what research shows is the most important thing for online safety, which is that they have a parent that they can talk about these issues with. And that's why we're adding resources to parents.snapchat.com. And that's in addition to our existing parental tools called Family Center, which allow parents to see who their teens are friends with, who they're talking to, and, offers additional content controls. And so, we're always working to ensure that our community is safe, and these safeguards are really responsive to that.
I bet that safety center is something that parents need to know about and something that they're probably hearing for the first time. I'm a parent of two teenagers right now. They're older teenagers. They're both in college. But during that time when they were in middle school and high school, Snapchat was very prevalent to them. Where can parents go to be a part of this this center to really kind of understand and develop ways to see who they're talking to at any given moment?
Yeah, that's a fabulous question. So our new website, parents.snapchat.com, has a range of resources, including instructions about how to get there. But if there's any parent right now who's interested in seeing Family Center, go in the Snapchat app, type in Family Center. You'll see it come up. You can sign up for it with your teen, and that will allow you to see who your teen is friends with and who they're talking to on Snapchat. And I really encourage any parent who's watching right now to do that and take advantage of those resources.
Anything else that we can touch on that you feel is important? We have thousands of people that watch us each and every morning. What else can we tell them, Nana?
Yeah, thank you so much. You know, as a parent myself, I know I've emphasized this point a few times already, but I really can't overstate the importance of talking to your teen about online safety, about engaging with them where they're at. And so I hope everybody signs up for Family Center and checks out our new resources. And I hope to come back soon to share more.
Okay, great. Well, listen, you're welcome back anytime. Nana Yadiger from Snapchat, we really appreciate you taking the time to really kind of explain some new and improved ways to make digital online surfing and social media like Snapchat safer. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right, so Hugh Jackman, Kourtney Kardashian, Jennifer Aniston, J-Lo, Elon Musk, just a few of the people that swear by intermittent fasting. Is it really safe? How do you actually know you're doing intermittent fasting? What will it do for you? Would it help you reach your health goals in 2023? Let's bring in Dr. Amy Duffy here. She is the international best-selling author of Normal Doesn't Have Side Effects, and she has been a part of the Action News 5 digital desk in the past. We appreciate you coming on once again, Amy. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. I'm so excited to be here and share this information. It's super fun.
Yeah, I am a person that loves to intermittent fast myself. I do it at work, and I have kind of like a, I don't know, 10 to 12 hour window. First, explain what it is for our audience out there and some of the different ways, because there's all kinds of different ways, I guess, to define intermittent fasting, right?
Absolutely. There's a lot of ways. I kind of narrow it down to two different ways when I'm talking to my patients. I have the calendar way and I have the clock way. So the calendar way, this makes it a little bit more easy to process. Pick 2 days of the week, make sure they're not 2 days in a row. And on the 2 days that you X out here, you're going to fast those 2 days. On the other days, you can eat like normal. You can also adjust this different weeks throughout the month. So let's say you got a hot date one night, you want to adjust your time or something going on at work. So this way, it's super easy. A little bit more difficult to fast for a whole day. A lot of people start with something more like the clock way. So you're going to pick a time frame, a window, just like you described, where you're eating, and then a window where you're fasting or not eating. So let's imagine that you're going to start eating at noon and you're going to stop eating at 6 p.m. and then you don't resume eating until noon the next day. This makes it super easy because you're focused more on when you're eating and not just what you're eating. So you don't have to count carbs, you don't have to count calories. You want to have a glass of wine? Let's have a glass of wine. How about a beer? Sure, have a beer. Or you can even eat your favorite chocolate. Now, you're going to get better results for weight loss and overall health, cardiovascular, reducing the risk of diabetes, et cetera, if you're going to choose healthier foods, right? So eat your apple, have a salad for that meal. But it really is super simple and easy to follow. I get a lot of questions, Dr. Duffy, is this safe for us to do? And intermittent fasting can be really safe. In fact, we're seeing a lot of data. That's why doctors are loving it, that it really works, not just for weight loss, for actually reducing our risk of disease. So it's very safe, and we're really recommending it to a lot of people. The few people who need to pay attention, if you're diabetic and you're monitoring your blood sugar with either a blood sugar monitor, like when you're checking your blood on your finger, or you have one of those continuous glucose monitors, you want to make sure you talk to your doctor about that. This may be something you need to adjust. Or perhaps you're on medication and that medication needs to be taken with food, then you need to pay attention to the timing there or chat with your doctor about that. Outside of that, intermittent fasting, super safe, really easy to follow, and it works. That's why it's the #1 fad diet in America.
Is it really #1? Wow. Okay. I didn't know that. #1 fad diet in America. Gotcha. Let's get into specifics about the best candidates for intermittent fasting. Is there a certain body type? What about age groups?
Kids are growing, so we certainly don't want to restrict them. Usually kids are eating more for natural hunger, as opposed to sometimes we just want to eat because we're feeling munchy or something like that. So probably you want to wait until they're older teenagers or adults before they start fasting. But kids will actually naturally fast. They just don't eat when they're not hungry, right? So that's okay, age-wise. As we get older, really, there's no age limit where you would not want to intermittent fast. So that's pretty easy to do. Really, every body type is great. And one of the best things about intermittent fasting, it's not like the keto diet. Keto is okay, and you're going to get results from that, but it's really short-lived. It's hard to live in the keto world for a really long time. But once you start to get used to intermittent fasting, this can be something that you can do for life. So it's really a great thing for anybody who's trying to either maintain their weight or really try to lose weight. If you're going to lose weight, you may want to avoid some of those fun foods that we were talking about, at least in the beginning, until you get to your maintenance weight. But really, that's what's so great about intermittent fasting, is it really can be for anyone.
Yeah, it is. And it's something that I've enjoyed. I do it usually at work, and I don't generally do it on the weekends. But questions around intermittent fasting, because then some people ask, well, what about someone who doesn't eat all day or goes several days and all they have is, water or coffee or something like that? Is that safe? I always hear that when you do intermittent fasting, or when you fast for, let's say, a day or so, it really helps your cells. Is that accurate?
Yeah, there's actually studies that show really the magic happens when you're looking at reducing inflammation or regeneration of damaged cells, happens when you get into the 18 to 21 hour fast window and beyond that. So, for weight loss purposes, it's really great to start and simple to start with something like an 8-16 or a 16-8 fast. But when you're really trying to correct some dysfunction there or reduce inflammation, you want to get into those longer fasts. And there are some studies where doing a longer, 24-hour, 36-hour fast can really be beneficial, especially like for cancer. We're kind of starving the cancer, if you want to think about it that way. So there's some studies that really look around that. Of course, you want to make sure that you're hydrated. And again, if you're struggling with low blood sugar, things like that, then you just want to pay attention to that. Sometimes there are some foods that are allowed in the fasting. So some of those fasting days, there's some articles that talk about you can eat up to 500 calories and that still would be considered a fast. There are other people who do what they call one meal a day. And basically they're fasting throughout the day and they just have one meal. So it's not even a window of, time 6 hours. It's just one meal a day. Again, the term intermittent fasting is important. So if you go to one meal a day, that's okay, but you may want to adjust that throughout your week in terms of what time that meal is, because if you do that every day for the rest of your life, your body's going to adapt to that. And then it's not really intermittent anymore. So, once you get into it, you may want to start adjusting that time frame a little bit.
What does it do for your metabolism? Does it speed it up? Does it slow it down? Do we know?
There's kind of this idea that people who are gaining weight or can't lose weight have a slow metabolism. And then people who can, it seems like they just have an unlimited amount of food that they can eat, but they're still skinny, have a fast metabolism. I don't know that that's really real. I mean, there's so many different variables that go into that. So intermittent fasting, I would say probably, whether you want to call it metabolism, but when you're fasting, it actually speeds up your body's ability to get stored fat. So you're not starving yourself. If you go into starvation mode over a long period of time, your body starts looking for energy in the form of your muscle. So it's going to use up muscle, where the ability with intermittent fasting is actually gathering your fat cells. So your metabolism improves in the fact that it's helping you to burn fat instead of burn calories from muscle or your food, basically. So it's really going to help you lose more fat.
All right, so if our viewers are interested, we've been talking about this for a few minutes, they're interested, they're like, okay, let me try this out. What would be your recommendation if someone wanted to try out intermittent fasting, Amy?
Yeah, that clock way is the easiest way, is just pick a window, between 6 and 8 hours that you're going to eat, and then the window between 16 to 18 hours that you're fasting. The easiest way, just like I described, is to start at noon, end at 6 or 7 p.m. That way you're sleeping through a good, if we're getting the 8 hours of sleep we're supposed to, you're sleeping during most of your fasting. A lot of people aren't starving first thing in the morning. You can have tea, you can have black coffee. You just don't want to consume a lot of calories. Make sure, you're still well hydrated. And then you just start eating again at lunchtime the next day. That is the easiest way to get started.
Awesome. Amy Duffy, we really appreciate your analysis, your insight on this. And thanks so very much. Happy New Year to you. The new year always feels like a fresh start with the promises of a new you, right? Someone with better habits, better intentions. But as we set those goals last month, well, life gets in the way of the progress. And certainly this is true when it comes to our financial fitness. I'm joined now by someone to get us on track once again when it comes to our financial health. Joining me now is Natalie Torres Haddad. She is a financial expert. She's going to get us on the right track when it comes to our financial health in the new year. Natalie, good morning. Where do we start with this? Good morning.
Good morning. Yes. Well, starting today, right? Setting a game plan. What does your financial situation look like now and seeing what it is that you want to do to make the right money moves for 2024. So not avoiding your finances like you might have throughout the year. Tax season is basically the time that you're forced to face them, and having that mindset, guess what? You'll be able to make the right money moves as you move forward.
So, tax season, we know it's officially here. What are some common mistakes that we should avoid when we're doing our taxes this year?
Yeah, some common mistakes can result from not being organized or properly filing your taxes, right? So maybe you're leaving thousands of dollars on the table by not including those tax write-offs, those deductions, or life-changing things that have happened in your life. Maybe you got married or had a baby. All of these areas can bring you a bigger tax return. So who doesn't want that, right? And this is when I tell people, consider setting up a direct deposit as well. So if you're working with a partner like Chime, then guess what? You can actually get your return 6 days earlier. And that can make a world of a difference, especially if you're trying to reach those financial goals or paying off some debts as well.
Natalie, how do we use this time of year, tax season, getting our financial orders straight and organized? How do we use this time of year to better our fiscal health?
Well, I'm going to advise use it wisely and invest in yourself. And I understand sometimes people see it as free money, so they end up and sending things that they don't really need or bring value to your life. So, asking yourself that question, what is that you want to see change for 2024? And understanding creating a game plan is going to help you. And if you are getting that tax return, like why not use that supplemental money to, fund your emergency fund or pay off some debt, right? The credit card bill. Or maybe your goal is to increase your credit history for 2024. Why not do that, right? And with the secure card, that actually is going to really help you, right? And Chime does have a credit builder credit card that's really going to help you be able to reach those goals a lot quicker. So I highly recommend investing in yourself, and why not have that game plan in place?
So, where do most people make the biggest mistakes when it comes to trying to better their finances?
Yes, the biggest mistakes, like I said, is sometimes just not, filing properly, but also not having everything in one place. So I always say, if you're going to be organized, have a designated folder, right? Having all your documents, your W-2, your 1099, all of those paperwork together before you actually submit your paperwork, and filing it on time, right? So making sure you don't miss that deadline. And I think sometimes those little mistakes can really cost in the end. And so if you're not having a direct deposit linked up, like right to your checking account to get that federal tax return, you're missing out on valuable time that you could be using that money to invest wisely.
What else can we talk about, Natalie, to get our finances in order in the new year?
Yeah, make it less, like I say, less stressful, more enjoyable. So, it can be an overwhelming feeling when you're dealing with your taxes. And so if you put something like in place, I say it's my spa day, but it's really like including a candle, having your tea, having some relaxing music to make the process a lot more enjoyable. And also, like I said, be patient with yourself, because it's not something that, overnight, all of a sudden you're great with your finances, but having the right partners in place, making sure you're keeping accountable for meeting that deadline and making sure that everything is where it should be before you submit that paperwork can, go a long way for you. Less stress more than anything.
Yes, we need less stress in our lives for sure. Natalie Torres Haddad, we appreciate you coming on the Digital Desk and talking about ways to help and better our financial health. Thanks very much. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. The new year, of course, is a great time to have a little bit of a reset with your teen. It's a perfect time to really discuss and establish new behaviors and open the door to conversations about developing online positivity and positive online habits. There's some new and established tools as well as resources that parents right now can use to set boundaries with their teens on social media. Let's talk about that right now with Dr. Ann Louise Lockhart. She's a board certified pediatric psychologist to join us now and talk about ways to make social media more positive in 2024 with your teens. Doctor, thank you for joining us. Tell us about where we should start with all this. Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. Thanks for having me. So a big place to start, and I see this in my work with teenagers and with parents, is to have a collaborative conversation and discussion with your teen, because that way parents can better know their teen, what they're struggling with, what they're excited about, why they're online, why they like social media. And that way parents can make good informed decisions about having those discussions with their teenager. So it doesn't feel like they're in trouble because you're supervising them and their use online.
I love that idea. Dr. Lockhart, can we talk a little bit about the various tools that parents can use and that teens can use to manage their time online?
Yes, so Meta has over 30 tools, supervision tools for parents that are really amazing. One of the ones that I really like, and it's because I hear this a lot in my therapy sessions with teenagers, when they get the notifications, they're afraid of missing out, they're afraid of not responding right away to people, they think that they need to be in the know. And quiet mode on Instagram is a great tool because it allows the teen to set the quiet mode on Instagram so that they don't get notifications. The people that are sending them DMs are told, okay, this person is offline and they're in quiet mode right now. And so that way they can do the things that they need to get done. So that's a really great one. Another tool is a take a break reminder. So if the teen is scrolling for more than 10, 30 minutes, they're getting a reminder that, okay, it's time to take a break, and they can even get expert tools and tips in terms of how to reset. So those are two of my most favorite ones. And then one other one as well is the time spent dashboard, which a lot of parents and myself, I love using this one as well, because it gives you information in terms of how much time you're actually spending on the app, so that you can look and see, that's why I've been unproductive, because look how much time I'm spending. So that time spent dashboard is a really great tool as well.
Okay, it sounds amazing that these tools have been developed for both teens and parents. Where can people go and get more information online and learn more about these tools?
Yes, so they can go to familycenter.meta.com to all the different Family Center tools, expert guidance, advice, and that way they can learn more about the app, how to use that, how to have discussions with their teenager about it, and then that way the parent can establish these supervision tools and look at when the teen can get online, when they should take a break, and they can learn those things together.
Fantastic. Dr. Ann Louise Lockhart, board certified pediatric psychologist. We appreciate you joining us and illuminating us to these new tools for both parents and teens when it comes to having a more positive outlook on social media in 2024. Thank you.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on this Wednesday. Temperatures are starting off in the 50s. We'll work our way through the 70s this afternoon. Not bad as we go through this Wednesday. A mixture of clouds and sunshine, a southwesterly breeze around 10 to 15 miles per hour. And again, a lot of sunshine still expected today, though at times some high and mid-level clouds may streak through, blotting it out just a little bit, blotting out the sunshine. But that spring warmth, this is more akin to what we would normally see the latter portion of April into early May. 77 in Memphis, Mariana at 77. Abbeville in northern Lafayette County, Mississippi at 76. Maury City going for 78 degrees today. In Crockett County, Bolivar in Hardeman County, 78 degrees this afternoon. Of course, well above average for this time of the year. Average high about 64 degrees. We get better rain chances to come into our area, giving you a first alert to the potential for maybe some heavy rainfall and even a strong storm or two that will roll into the area late Thursday heading into Friday. We stay dry though today outside of maybe a passing shower primarily across northwest Tennessee this morning. But other than that, I think we're going to be dry through the course of the day. The better rain chances, while it looks, yes, we're going to have rain moving into the region on Thursday, this is going to be predicated after sunset. Continues Thursday night into your Friday. And notice there's a band of heavy rainfall that could set up shop, if not in the Action News 5 coverage area, the southern portions of the Action News 5 coverage area, maybe just outside, that could lead up to some flooding concerns heading into your Friday. Not to mention, there's also a risk for a few strong and severe thunderstorms. The higher risk outside of this view here, an enhanced risk for strong and severe thunderstorms across portions of southwestern Missouri and northwestern portions of Arkansas. But we're right on the edge of not just this risk, but also Friday's risk. So we'll see kind of a transfer between Thursday into Friday. There's going to be a risk of some stronger storms that likely impact the Mid-South heading through Thursday evening. There's a window of time there where we will have everything kind of together for that potential. I think mainly from sunset through about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning on Friday, but then we lend itself to the heavy rain potential. So let's go hour by hour with our first alert futurecast. And what you'll notice again today, outside of a few faults of warm breezes that are going to get a little aggressive from time to time, some clouds here and there, temperatures will be back up into the 70s amid some sunshine through the course of the day. Tonight we're down into the 60s, could be a couple sprinkled in upper 50s where the skies are able to stay clear. Clouds, fog banks could slow you down along your morning travels on Thursday. There could be a passing shower or two during the day on Thursday, but notice to the west, again, as we were mentioning, it looks like this general area, southwestern portions of Missouri, northwestern portions of Arkansas through the Ozarks, that's going to be the area where we have the strong and severe thunderstorm threat. Large hail looks to be the biggest impact with that storm system. And you'll have several clusters of storms that will then congeal into a larger cluster of storms that will make progress across the Mid-South heading through the evening hours. That's Thursday evening. So when you're checking with meteorologist Spencer Denton here on Action News 5, we may be having a very active evening period of your Thursday where we'll have waves of showers and storms, because this is just one wave. Another one's developing out west. So this is your strong or severe thunderstorm wave. This one will be behind it. This will become the heavy rain threat that could linger into the morning hours of Friday. So a morning commute on Friday could be quite messy, and depending on where exactly that heaviest band of rain sets up shop, because remember, we've got a frontal boundary that's going to be sluggishly working its way southward and in a process of stalling out. That's what's going to help to facilitate those chances for rain that could be heavy at times as that system works its way down towards the south. But again, depending on where that would likely set up, I'd say from I-40 point southward has the higher potential for any flood concerns or widespread flood concerns as the front slips southward during the morning hours. We should get most of the rain out of here by midday. Lingering shower chance, maybe a pop-up pocket of clouds that will clear out for some sunshine. We go into the overnight period of Friday into early Saturday, and we set up a okay weekend. I say okay because there could still be a few isolated showers from time to time, primarily on Saturday morning. Then another front will make progress into the area. That will happen late Sunday into your Monday, ushering in a blast of wintry weather. So while we have been so warm as of late, we're about to see a transition back to the season that we are currently in and about to come clawing out of, heading into spring next week. And the first day of spring, Tuesday, 58 the high temperature. We'll go middle 60s, though, by the time we head towards the first full day of spring. That's next Wednesday, but we got to get there first. Of course, you can find out those details on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. Download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store, anywhere and everywhere where you can look at the forecast. Also, severe weather alerts. Hopefully we don't have to see those popping up on your phones here as we head towards the latter portion of the week. So again, mixture of clouds and sunshine for Wednesday and Thursday. A few more clouds in the skies on Thursday. Chances for a few showers here or there during the day. The bulk of the rain is overnight Thursday into Friday. So when you look at the First Alert Weather app, just know that the devil's in the details. You got to pull out that forecast because they'll say 30% on there and you probably think to yourself, oh, it's not that bad. It's really the overnight period that has the highest rain chance. That's why we have the 80% right there. Morning rain chances on Friday, high near 70 degrees. Then we go into your Saturday, not looking terribly bad for the Silky St. Patrick's Day parade. That kicks off 2 p.m. on Saturday down Beale Street. But of course, a lot of folks are going to be out there a little earlier than that, getting their place along Beale Street. Temperatures in the 50s, 60s by the afternoon. Hours of light northwesterly breeze and variably cloudy skies. Again, I'm keeping a small chance of a shower in the forecast just because of how this frontal boundary may sluggishly work its way down towards the south. And if it does slow down to a point, it may back in a couple of showers. And we've mentioned that the last couple of days, that it's really iffy. It's trending more optimistic. So let's hope that that continues to be the case here. We go into St. Patrick's Day itself on Sunday. Get ready for that second front moving through the area. 50s for highs, lows down into the 30s. Could be freezing by early Tuesday morning in some of the outlying areas to head into the final hours of winter with a high of 58, close to 60 degrees on Tuesday. That's a little bit below average. We'll go even warmer. Again, you can find out on the 10-day forecast on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app, which is a download in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store.
Right now, I want to talk about some of the amazing things to look forward to in 2024, one of which is the Memphis Showboats. Remember last year, the season? It was a slow start, but man, was it a lot of fun. They went on a tear, beating, 4 or 5 games in a row. I remember taking my son there. My wife and I had a blast. It was so enjoyable. And guess what? The new season is right around the corner. Memphis Showboats are back in Memphis, and I'm joined right now on the Action News 5 digital desk by the brand new head coach of your Memphis Showboats, John DeFilippo, joining us on the digital desk. John, how are you? Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you guys too. It's great to be here, and I'm thrilled to be in Memphis. And by the way, that winning streak started. That winning streak started with my team last year, the New Orleans Breakers. We were 4-0, and they came in and beat us.
I remember that, John. So for people maybe who don't know a little bit about your background, you have extensive background, extensive coaching experience in the NFL and, as you just mentioned, the USFL. Can you talk a little bit about your background?
Yeah, absolutely. Been very fortunate in my coaching career. I've spent 15 years in the National Football League, mainly as a quarterback coach or offensive coordinator. And then I spent 7 years coaching Division I college football. Before that, been to the top of the mountain with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2017. Very fortunate to win a Super Bowl with a great group of players and coaches and a great organization. And obviously got my first chance to be a head coach last year with the New Orleans Breakers and try to make the most of that opportunity. And we'll do the same here in Memphis.
Fantastic. Really excited. Yes, I'm very familiar with that run in 2017 and the New Orleans Breakers. Very good team last year, too. What can we expect from the Showboats this year? Because, there was a lot of excitement throughout the year and throughout the season. We didn't make the playoffs, but, it would be great to build upon that and eventually get in those playoffs.
Absolutely. This is going to be an exciting new league, and it's going to be, a lot of the best players from both leagues playing against each other. So we're going to bring an exciting brand of football. I think if you watched our New Orleans teams last year, we love to throw the football, and we love hard play action pass with shots down the field and a power run game. So that's what we're going to be on offense. On defense, that was one of the toughest defenses we went against last year, and that's why I kept Coach Carnell Lake as our defensive coordinator. And he'll do a great job again with this defense. And they did a great job of making us work, and teams throughout the league last year work and kept the ball in front of them. And we're very, very stout in the run game. So we're going to be we're going to stop the run first and then have explosive pass gains along with running the football.
Let me ask you this, because it became official just a few days ago that the XFL and the USFL merged. It's now the United Football League. Does that change anything for the fan, or does that change anything from you and how you're going to coach?
Yeah, I think it changes a lot. To me, the whole landscape of spring football now is for the better because, unfortunately, there's going to be young men that don't have a chance to play in this league and coaches that don't have a chance to coach in this league. But at the same time, you're getting the best players from both leagues. And, I know in 2 years with the USFL, they put over 100 players in the National Football League. I mean, the team that we got beat by last year in the playoffs, the Birmingham Stallions, put 16 players in the National Football League last year alone. So you're going to see not only that amount of numbers of guys signing with NFL teams, but now with the XFL players coming over and us merging together, the brand of football is going to be better. It's going to be more exciting for the fans. And I'll tell you what, Simmons Bank Liberty Stadium is going to be lit up next year.
I can't wait. I'm getting excited just hearing you talk, John, and looking forward to it. So we got the first game, I believe, at the end of March. Tell me about the fan experience. I know it was so fan-friendly last year. As I mentioned off the top, I was there with my son, with my wife. We enjoyed the experience a great deal. Are we going to be seeing more of that, or is it going to be a little bit different? Tell me.
I'll be honest with you. I don't know what the fan experience is going to be like, but I know I liked the fan experience last year when we visited Memphis. I know, and it was a great atmosphere, and there's no doubt it's going to be fan friendly. That's going to be a major, major piece of this league for sure. But what we can control is putting the product on the field to make the experience fun, because it's always more fun when you leave the stadium after your team wins. So that's what we're going to do our best to do.
That sounds fantastic. Anything? I know training camp. We're still weeks away from all of that. But can you talk a little bit about this team and what to expect? Is it, I know you're offensive minded. We had a great defense. You're more of an offensive guy. What can we expect from the team? And maybe, what kind of offense? Let's start there.
Yeah, sure. We're going to be mainly 3 wide receivers. Okay, mainly. Offense, and our offense is very involved. We get our best playmakers the football as much as we can. We're very tight end friendly, and that's been proven throughout the course of my history with tight ends. I think you'll see our tight end room catch a lot of passes and do a great job. But like I said, we're going to be explosive. We're going to run to the football. We're not going to do everything right, but it's going to be fast, and it's going to be a lot of fun for our fans to watch.
That sounds fantastic, head coach John DeFilippo. Anything else you want to mention to the fans before we let you go? This is exciting. We can't wait.
Well, I'm just thrilled to be in a football crazed state like Tennessee and a football crazed town like Memphis. That's what gets me excited and should get our players excited as well. I mean, Memphis is an unbelievable town. It's a place I've spent some time in the past, and I'm just thrilled to be part of the community.
Absolutely. We're thrilled to have you, head coach John DeFilippo, new head coach of your Memphis Showboats. John, thanks so very much for joining us on the Digital Desk, and all the best in this upcoming season. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm Andrew Douglas. Did you know that more than 6.5 million Americans live with an autoimmune disease that's called plaque psoriasis? The condition affects the skin. It causes plaques, itchiness, flaking, and many people confuse it with other conditions like eczema. The disease can be physically and mentally debilitating, isolating, with a lot of misconceptions. Well, let's clear all that up right now. On the digital desk, I am joined by Dr. James Song. He's a dermatologist, and also Marjorie, who's decided to tell us about her experience in her personal journey living with plaque psoriasis. Good morning to you both. I appreciate you being here on the digital desk. Doctor, I want to start with you. Can you briefly tell us what plaque psoriasis is and the symptoms involved? Good morning.
Yeah, so plaque psoriasis, it's a chronic autoimmune condition that leads to chronic inflammation in the skin. And common areas that are affected include your scalp, elbows, and knees, but even the nails and skin folds. And we know symptoms can range from itching, which is the most common, but also burning as well as soreness, especially when your skin starts to crack and bleed, which we typically see on the hands and feet. And pretty much all age groups are affected. You could be young, you could be old, as well as all skin tones. And so if you are more fairly complected, psoriasis can often look more light pink to red and scaly. Whereas if you have more color in your skin, it can look more purplish gray or even hyperpigmented. And then for many of our patients, winter is a tough time. Psoriasis does tend to flare because it gets drier, colder, lack of sun. These are all known triggers for psoriasis.
I appreciate you informing us about this. I want to ask Marjorie for a minute. If you can, Marjorie, tell me about your personal journey and how the disease has affected you.
Well, I have had psoriasis for 4 years now, and it greatly impacts me because my psoriasis is on the palms of my hands mostly and on the tops of my hands. So the things that I love to do most are baking and cooking, and I have to wear a latex gloves so that I can continue to do that as much as I like to. And come springtime, I'll be wearing my gardening gloves all the time while I'm outside in the garden because it doesn't matter if it's a small job or a big job. It's the fact that I have to keep my hands protected. But I think the most important thing for me is going up to someone I'm meeting for the first time and offering my hand in a handshake and knowing that my skin is very dry, sometimes scaly, and that this person can feel that. It's embarrassing.
Marjorie, I appreciate you opening up to us about your personal journey. I want to go back over to Dr. Song for a minute. And if you could tell me, Doctor, what's the cause of plaque psoriasis, and what's the difference between that and eczema, and maybe the common misconceptions of it?
Yeah, so there's a lot of misconceptions, Andrew, one of which you mentioned, that is eczema, right, which is a different entity. It's due to a different part of the immune system. It presents differently as well. But also, is this infectious? Is this contagious? And those are not, any of those are right. It's actually due to chronic inflammation of your skin from your overactive immune system. And that's why Margie and I are here actually on behalf of Amgen, because we want to dispel some of those misconceptions and raise awareness that this is due to an overactive immune system that makes your skin cells grow much more rapidly than they should. And that's why it looks red, thick, and scaly.
Is an overactive immune system, is that a good thing?
It's, there's checks and balances to everything. If you get sick, of course, we want your immune system to turn on so that it could address that infection. But once that infection or whatever trigger is gone, your immune system needs to turn off. And if it doesn't, then it starts to cause damage to parts of your body, including the skin.
I see. Okay. Doctor, let me ask you one more thing. How can people with plaque psoriasis manage their symptoms? And I understand that it is a much bigger deal in the winter months.
Yeah, so in the winter months, like you mentioned, it could flare. And so we want to make sure basic things like lukewarm baths, using a gentle cleanser, and using a moisturizer that's compatible with the skin on a regular basis. A lot of people are using topical medications like creams or ointments, and they may temporarily relieve some of the symptoms, but they oftentimes are greasy, they're messy, they're hard to do consistently, and they're not actually treating a root cause of that inflammation. And so my recommendation is if your topicals are not enough, talk with your dermatologist and see if an oral option might be a better option.
Marjorie, we have thousands of people who watch us here on the Action News 5 digital desk, and perhaps some of them may have plaque psoriasis. What would you tell them?
I would tell them the first time you see, excuse me, the first time you see something on your skin that is unusual, and if the itching is unbearable, make sure if you don't see your primary doctor, see a dermatologist, and they can tell you if you have eczema or whatever it might be causing your problem or psoriasis, and then work with that dermatologist to get to a good spot for yourself.
Okay, Dr. Song, where can people go online for information about plaque psoriasis?
Yeah, one recommendation here is a trusted source, www.p something different, so all one word.com. Some additional information on psoriasis, as well as alternative treatment options that could be available for everyone.
All right, Dr. James Song and Marjorie, we appreciate your time this morning. Thanks so very much for illuminating us to this issue. We appreciate it. Andrew Douglas back here in the Action News 5 digital desk, asking for a raise from your boss. That is an intimidating idea, and certainly people are scared to do it. They don't want to do it. They feel shy about doing it. Well, let's talk more about this because we mentioned it earlier this morning. We are now joined live by the Vice President of Recruiter.com, Angela Copeland. Appreciate you joining us, Angela, and how are you?
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, we appreciate it very much. And so, the asking for that raise this time of year, it certainly can be intimidated for people. So let's get your best expert approach on how to approach that topic with your boss.
Well, this is such an important topic. I'll be honest, there is not any topic I'm hearing about more than pay right now from job seekers, because as you've seen in the news, pay is really going up now more than it really ever has. Before you have the conversation with your boss, I think you've got to kind of have a conversation with yourself. And I'd say start really by evaluating your risk tolerance, because this is a conversation that can be risky. When you go in and you have it, if it doesn't go well, we have to remember that as much as we want to fight for the most amount of money, everyone is replaceable, and it is a risky conversation. So if you've got 4 kids at home, you may want to approach it a little differently than if you don't have, any of those external factors going on. But the best time really when you're ready to have the conversation is to have it during your annual performance evaluation. And that's something that's starting to happen right now with many companies. Companies are going through their review cycle, and it's a good time to sit down and talk about where you are today and kind of where you want to be going forward in your career.
No, that's a great approach, and that's certainly a great time to ask for it. But even still, the whole conversation, can be kind of weird, as you said. It can be awkward for somebody, especially if you're not prepared. What's the best way to prepare for that kind of conversation?
So the preparation is a very important piece. And the great news is that there's more data online today about salaries than ever before, because many companies are actually posting their salaries with job listings. And also you can look at other sites where there's available information about how much different people are making in certain roles by certain companies. So you can go in with research to have an idea of what you think is really reasonable. And then I would talk about results. What are you bringing to the table? What is the value that you've provided in the last year, and how is your role evolving to some new level? You don't want to go in and say, I'd just like some extra money, because of course everybody would like some extra money, but you've got to show business-wise why it makes sense. And the other thing is, I'd really brace yourself, because oftentimes companies are not incentivized to give big raises. Like if you're thinking you want a 20% or a 30% raise, your current company is not incentivized to give that raise to you. The company that will likely give you a big raise is a different company. So you've got to keep in mind that if you're truly set on making more money, you may have to look outside the walls of your current company.
I like that idea. I like that approach: research, results, and the evolution of what you're doing for the company. Great approach there. What about timing wise? Because a lot of times, if someone says, well, I haven't been there long enough, I don't know if it's the right time to ask for it. Is there a certain amount of time that you should ask for a raise?
You ask a great question, because if I've just hired someone, right, and they come straight to me and they want more money, that sort of feels a little disingenuous. Like they've agreed to a certain rate and now they want more, and they haven't even really been there long enough to do what we've agreed to. But at the same time, I'm really seeing companies that are stepping up and giving employees raises today who've only been around for a few months, simply because there is so much turnover going on right now. So, personally, I'd wait at least a year before you start having those conversations if you're brand new. And I would talk about it not just in terms of money. I know financially that's really what you're trying to get out of it, but you want to talk about it in terms of your career path, in terms of the value that you're bringing the company. Like you want to make it make business sense to them. It can't just be a grab for money. But really the best time is during that performance evaluation, when you're really talking about how you've done in the last year and you're talking about planning for the future.
Makes sense, certainly. And then another one that people might get tripped up on is, how much do you ask for? What's a good way to approach that?
It's a good question. Sometimes you can get the company to actually give you a number. If you talk about, directionally how you want to, that you want to grow in the company, sometimes they'll have a number they're thinking of. But alternatively, look online and see what's fair in your industry, at your company, in your particular role, because you may find that, a few $1,000s will get you there. You may find that, it's a huge chunk of money. And I wouldn't say there's a certain percentage, but you want to go out and do your research on what really is the market rate. But keep in mind, again, if you're asking for, let's say, more than 10% at the very most, I think that's a tough ask for any company. Even if what you're saying makes sense, even if it's the market value, like even if all the things make a lot of sense, if you go in and say, I want 50% more money to stay here, I think there is a good chance your boss is going to say, I'm sorry, we just can't do that. So you really want to reflect. And if you are looking for that kind of a big raise, you may just have to look somewhere else. And the good news is this is a great time to be looking. There are so many companies hiring, and they are paying more than they were in the past. So if you want to truly make a difference in your pay, switching companies is often the very best way to go.
I love that. I love that. More options out there for the employee, for sure. So what about after you make this request? Let's say you get the gumption, you do it, you don't make it awkward, and they still say no. What then?
Well, it's a good question, because this is the thing. It gives you information. If they come back and say, no, we can't do it, it gives you the information you need, right? Like either the company cannot afford to pay their employees more. Maybe the company's not in a good place, or maybe they don't value you the way that you feel they should. Or maybe your manager just doesn't have a backbone. Like, it could be any of those things, but you get this information by having the conversation, and then you have to make a decision. Are you comfortable to continue to stay and to continue to work at that same rate? Or do you want to look somewhere else and see if somebody else would be willing to pay you more? I think the one other alternative you might consider, especially if you work at a big company, is looking at other departments within that company, because you will find sometimes there might be one department that pays much more than another department. So if you feel like, man, I've just really maxed out in my area and I don't think my boss is going to be willing to go up any higher, perhaps you take that information and you start to even look, in other spots within your same organization.
All great advice, all great cues from you. Anything else that we can touch on regarding this topic, Angela, that we haven't mentioned already?
I think the biggest thing is go and do your research online. We are so fortunate that labor laws around salary are really changing, and they have been for probably 5 years or more. And what it creates is a situation of transparency. So if you aren't sure if you're underpaid, go online and do your research, because it is not hard to find out anymore. And those laws have changed really in an effort to create more equality within sort of the space of pay. And as an employee, you have every right to go out and do your research and decide if the amount of money that you're making works for you or doesn't work for you. So go and do your homework rather than, just wishing that someone would give you more money. And again, also remember that if you don't ask, you may not get any additional money. So asking is really the first step.
Great advice and insight as always. Angela Copeland, Vice President of Recruiter.com. Thanks very much. Appreciate all the info.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on this Wednesday. Temperatures are starting off in the 50s. We'll work our way through the 70s this afternoon. Not bad as we go through this Wednesday. A mixture of clouds and sunshine, a southwesterly breeze around 10 to 15 miles per hour. And again, a lot of sunshine still expected today, though at times some high and mid-level clouds may streak through, blotting it out just a little bit, blotting out the sunshine. But that spring warmth, this is more akin to what we would normally see the latter portion of April into early May. 77 in Memphis, Mariana at 77. Abbeville in northern Lafayette County, Mississippi at 76. Maury City going for 78 degrees today. In Crockett County, Bolivar in Hardeman County, 78 degrees this afternoon. Of course, well above average for this time of the year. Average high about 64 degrees. We get better rain chances to come into our area, giving you a first alert to the potential for maybe some heavy rainfall and even a strong storm or two that will roll into the area late Thursday heading into Friday. We stay dry though today, outside of maybe a passing shower, primarily across northwest Tennessee this morning. But other than that, I think we're going to be dry through the course of the day. The better rain chances, while it looks, yes, we're going to have rain moving into the region on Thursday, this is going to be predicated after sunset. Continues Thursday night into your Friday. And notice there's a band of heavy rainfall that could set up shop, if not in the Action News 5 coverage area, the southern portions of the Action News 5 coverage area, maybe just outside, that could lead up to some flooding concerns heading into your Friday. Not to mention, there's also a risk for a few strong and severe thunderstorms. The higher risk outside of this this view here, an enhanced risk for strong and severe thunderstorms across portions of southwestern Missouri and northwestern portions of Arkansas. But we're right on the edge of not just this risk, but also Friday's risk. So we'll see kind of a transfer between Thursday into Friday. There's going to be a risk of some stronger storms that likely impact the Mid-South heading through Thursday evening. There's a window of time there where we will have everything kind of together for that potential. I think mainly from sunset through about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning on Friday, but then we lend itself to the heavy rain potential. So let's go hour by hour with our first alert futurecast. And what you'll notice again today, outside of a few faults of warm breezes that are going to get a little aggressive from time to time, some clouds here and there, temperatures will be back up into the 70s amid some sunshine through the course of the day. Tonight we're down into the 60s, could be a couple sprinkled in upper 50s where the skies are able to stay clear. Clouds, fog banks could slow you down along your morning travels on Thursday. There could be a passing shower or two during the day on Thursday, but notice to the west, again, as we were mentioning, it looks like this general area, southwestern portions of Missouri, northwestern portions of Arkansas through the Ozarks, that's going to be the area where we have the strong and severe thunderstorm threat. Large hail looks to be the biggest impact with that storm system. And you'll have several clusters of storms that will then congeal into a larger cluster of storms that will make progress across the Mid-South heading through the evening hours. That's Thursday evening. So when you're checking with meteorologist Spencer Denton here on Action News 5, we may be having a very active evening period of your Thursday where we'll have waves of showers and storms, because this is just one wave. Another one's developing out west. So this is your strong or severe thunderstorm wave. This one will be behind it. This will become the heavy rain threat that could linger into the morning hours of Friday. So a morning commute on Friday could be quite messy, and depending on where exactly that heaviest band of rain sets up shop, because remember, we've got a frontal boundary that's going to be sluggishly working its way southward and in a process of stalling out. That's what's going to help to facilitate those chances for rain that could be heavy at times as that system works its way down towards the south. But again, depending on where that would likely set up, I'd say from I-40 point southward has the higher potential for any flood concerns or widespread flood concerns as the front slips southward during the morning hours. We should get most of the rain out of here by midday. Lingering shower chance, maybe a pop-up pocket of clouds that will clear out for some sunshine. We go into the overnight period of Friday into early Saturday, and we set up a okay weekend. I say okay because there could still be a few isolated showers from time to time, primarily on Saturday morning. Then another front will make progress into the area. That will happen late Sunday into your Monday, ushering in a blast of wintry weather. So while we have been so warm as of late, we're about to see a transition back to the season that we are currently in and about to come clawing out of, heading into spring next week. And the first day of spring, Tuesday, 58 the high temperature. We'll go middle 60s, though, by the time we head towards the first full day of spring. That's next Wednesday, but we got to get there first. Of course, you can find out those details on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. Download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store, anywhere and everywhere where you can look at the forecast. Also, severe weather alerts. Hopefully, we don't have to see those popping up on your phones here as we head towards the latter portion of the week. So again, mixture of clouds and sunshine for Wednesday and Thursday. A few more clouds in the skies on Thursday. Chances for a few showers here or there during the day. The bulk of the rain is overnight Thursday into Friday. So when you look at the First Alert Weather app, just know that the devil's in the details. You got to pull out that forecast, because they'll say 30% on there, and you probably think to yourself, oh, it's not that bad. It's really the overnight period that has the highest rain chance. That's why we have the 80% right there. Morning rain chances on Friday, high near 70 degrees. Then we go into your Saturday, not looking terribly bad for the Silky St. Patrick's Day parade. That kicks off 2 p.m. on Saturday down Beale Street. But of course, a lot of folks are going to be out there a little earlier than that, getting their place along Beale Street. Temperatures in the 50s, 60s by the afternoon hours, a light northwesterly breeze and variably cloudy skies. Again, I'm keeping a small chance of a shower in the forecast just because of how this frontal boundary may sluggishly work its way down towards the south. And if it does slow down to a point, it may back in a couple of showers. And we've mentioned that the last couple of days, that it's really iffy. It's trending more optimistic So let's hope that that continues to be the case here. We go into St. Patrick's Day itself on Sunday. Get ready for that second front moving through the area. 50s for highs, lows down into the 30s. Could be freezing by early Tuesday morning in some of the outlying areas to head into the final hours of winter with a high of 58, close to 60 degrees on Tuesday. That's a little bit below average. We'll go even warmer. Again, you can find out on the 10-day forecast on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app, which is a download in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store.
Let's bring in Dr. Carrie Brackney with Regional One to talk more about childbirth defects and ways that we can treat them or perhaps prevent them. Good morning, doctor. How are you?
Hi, good morning. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you being here. So for people who are just tuning in, let's start broad and talk about what a birth defect actually is.
Sure. So a birth defect is when a baby has a condition that somehow the way their body forms is different than typical.
Go ahead and explain some of those childbirth defects that are so common to so many people.
Yeah, the most common ones that we see are heart defects or spina bifida or brain or neurologic abnormalities. But also sometimes we see babies with a cleft lip or palate or kidney abnormalities or really anywhere in their body.
I totally follow you now. So, you know, a lot of things people think about is maybe some of the most common ones, what are ones that can be prevented? Is there anything, if a child is born with a birth defect, that we can do to perhaps cure it or lessen it, that sort of thing?
Sure, yeah. So unfortunately, birth defects are more common than we would like. About 1 in 33 babies in the United States are born with a birth defect. And in fact, in Shelby County alone, we had over 1,300 babies born with a birth defect in the past 5 years or so. And they're caused by all sorts of different things. About 1 in 5 of them are caused by some kind of a genetic change. But other things are things that can actually be prevented or affected. And so a mom who has diabetes before pregnancy, if her blood sugars are really high, she has a higher risk of a baby with a defect. Or if she's on a medication, some medications can cause birth defects. Smoking and other chemical exposures can lead to a birth defect. Rarely an infection can cause a birth defect. So things like rubella or toxoplasmosis or syphilis, which, you know, syphilis is on the rise right now in our area. And then there is a slightly higher chance if a mom has a high blood pressure condition or if she's overweight. But ultimately, about 2/3 of birth defects are random and we don't really know what causes them. Most birth defects aren't really, like I said, you know, 2/3 of them aren't really preventable as far as we know, but most are treatable. Some require surgery or medications or physical therapy. Some kids will need devices like hearing aids or glasses or braces or even a wheelchair. And so If the mom's obstetrician has a concern that the baby might have a birth defect, they might pick up on that with some blood screenings or ultrasounds during pregnancy. And then if they do have specific concerns, they'll often refer those patients to us, a high-risk pregnancy specialist, for a special detailed ultrasound like we do here at Regional 1, or even to our multi-specialty team over at the Le Bonheur Fetal Center, where we can connect families to the specialists that their baby might need after birth.
In your practice, Dr. Brackney, what are the most common birth defects that you see?
Heart defects are the most common that we see, but we really see a wide variety. Like I mentioned before, cleft lip or cleft palate, spina bifida, kidney conditions, all of those we see fairly regularly here.
You know, I know that there are some where people can see if their baby's born with one ahead of time, right? I mean, is that, tell me how that process works.
Sure. So typically what will happen is a patient has either a blood test that shows a possible abnormality or an ultrasound that shows something that looks, you know, a little bit different. And so then that patient's obstetrician will refer them to a maternal fetal medicine specialist like myself. And then we will do sometimes more blood tests, often an ultrasound, and occasionally we'll offer something like an amniocentesis, where we put a thin needle into the uterus, take off a little bit of fluid, and evaluate for certain genetic conditions. And then especially when we have babies that come over to the fetal center at Le Bonheur, some of those babies we will recommend fetal echocardiograms to look really carefully at the baby's heart, or even a fetal MRI where mom goes through the MRI machine and we look at the baby in even more detail before birth.
Gotcha. All right, so we have thousands of people that watch us each and every morning here at the Digital Desk, Dr. Brackney. If someone is pregnant or perhaps thinking about getting pregnant, is that the time when they should be thinking about this? I mean, you tell me, tell our audience.
Yes, and even earlier. So really, I would recommend that any woman of childbearing age who is able to get pregnant, she really ought to be taking a prenatal vitamin every day, because the folic acid in that vitamin in particular can lower her risk of having a baby with spina bifida. And that process occurs in the first 6 to 8 weeks of pregnancy, which is often before a mom even knows she's pregnant. So that's why we say, just go ahead and take it all the time. You know, half of pregnancies are unplanned. So if you're on it, you know, you kind of don't have to think about that. Also, we think about moms with diabetes or high blood pressure or other medical conditions who might be on medications. And if you are able to get pregnant or possibly going to get pregnant, again, talk with your doctor about getting those disorders under the best control possible, being on the right medications so they wouldn't affect your baby during pregnancy. And then, of course, once you are pregnant, following through on all of that as early as you possibly can in pregnancy really can make a big difference for moms and babies.
I appreciate you shedding all this light on our audience. I got to ask, is there a place online with Regional 1 Health that we can go and learn more about birth defects?
Yes, so both Regional 1 does have our high-risk pregnancy website that you can go to. Le Bonheur, we have our fetal center website, which is also available to look at. And then CDC.org also has some good information about prevention of birth defects. So especially if you've got a family history, those are great places to look at and look at the recommendations.
Okay, Dr. Carrie Brackney with maternal fetal medicine at Regional 1 Health. Really appreciate you shedding light on birth defects and what people can do now to prevent them. Thanks very much.
Yeah, thank you for having me, and thanks for chatting.
There is a new survey out there that challenges and highlights the challenges that caregivers face. I want to bring in now to the Action News 5 digital desk a family therapist, a former caregiver, to really share some insight on ways to navigate these unseen struggles that happen so often. I'm joined now by Dr. Merle Griff. She is a family therapist, a former caregiver herself. Dr. Griff, good morning. Thank you for joining us on the digital desk. Can you talk a little bit more about this survey and some of the biggest challenges that you see family caregivers face? Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. The OSCA survey on family caregivers showed that family caregivers are often very stressed. They're feeling very overburdened. They're often exhausted. But I think more importantly, the findings from the survey show that very often they have a financial impact. It impacts their jobs, their careers. They often have to cut back their hours. I've worked with families where the family caregivers actually had to stop working. And this has a very, very definite financial impact, with about 72% of family caregivers having to dip into the retirement funds or the personal savings. Very often, a large majority of them don't have the money to spend on necessities. And by necessities, we mean food and their own prescription medications.
Yeah, I'm a former caregiver myself. So is my wife. We lived with my father-in-law the last 5 years of his life. My father lives in a different state, but he has Alzheimer's, and so he has caregivers as well. What is the best advice you can give to caregivers out there? Because as you mentioned, they feel so alone and they feel so stressed out and so anxious.
Well, thank you very much for caring for your family. It is very hard, and so thank you for doing that. I think that OSCA surveys clearly showed that family members want help, and that's exactly what you're talking about. And they look to help from other family members. And that can be in various ways. It could be actually going to the house to stay with someone for a period of time, to helping out with insurance papers or dealing with finances. It also means just maybe sending a meal, twice a month, or, sending a small gift of candy or TV. I'm sorry, but watching TV with someone. But the most important thing for family caregivers is they really have to refuel. You can't run on empty. And when you're not taking care of someone, when you are taking care of someone, then you really have to take care of yourself.
No question about it. So really quickly, I know we only have a few seconds left. Is there a place online where we can get information for people out there that are perhaps struggling or about to go through this process?
Yes, absolutely. I would highly recommend you go to otska-us.com. Lots of resources there for you.
Okay, Dr. Merle Griff, we appreciate your time. Thank you so much for sharing some insights and some expert advice. We appreciate it.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on this Wednesday. Temperatures are starting off in the 50s. We'll work our way through the 70s this afternoon. Not bad as we go through this Wednesday. A mixture of clouds and sunshine, a southwesterly breeze around 10 to 15 miles per hour. And again, a lot of sunshine still expected today, though at times some high and mid-level clouds may streak through, blotting it out just a little bit, blotting out the sunshine. But that spring warmth, this is more akin to what we would normally see the latter portions of April into early May. 77 in Memphis, Mariana at 77, Abbeville in northern Lafayette County, Mississippi at 76, Maury City going for 78 degrees today in Crockett County, Bolivar in Hardeman County, 78 degrees this afternoon. Of course, well above average for this time of the year. Average high about 64 degrees. We get better rain chances to come into our area, giving you a first alert to the potential for maybe some heavy rainfall and even a strong storm or two that will roll into the area late Thursday heading into Friday. We stay dry though today outside of maybe a passing shower primarily across northwest Tennessee this morning. But other than that, I think we're going to be dry through the course of the day. The better rain chances, while it looks, yes, we're going to have rain moving into the region on Thursday, this is going to be predicated after sunset. Continues Thursday night into your Friday. And notice there's a band of heavy rainfall that could set up shop, if not in the Action News 5 coverage area, the southern portions of the Action News 5 coverage area, maybe just outside, that could lead up to some flooding concerns heading into your Friday. Not to mention, there's also a risk for a few strong and severe thunderstorms. The higher risk outside of this view here, an enhanced risk for strong and severe thunderstorms across portions of southwestern Missouri and northwestern portions of Arkansas. But we're right on the edge of not just this risk, but also Friday's risk. So we'll see kind of a transfer between Thursday into Friday. There's going to be a risk of some stronger storms that likely impact the Mid-South heading through Thursday evening. There's a window of time there where we will have everything kind of together for that potential. I think mainly from sunset through about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning on Friday, but then we lend itself to the heavy rain potential. So let's go hour by hour with our first alert futurecast. And what you'll notice again today, outside of a few faults of warm breezes that are going to get a little aggressive from time to time, some clouds here and there, temperatures will be back up into the 70s amid some sunshine through the course of the day. Tonight we're down into the 60s, could be a couple sprinkled in upper 50s where the skies are able to stay clear. Clouds, fog banks could slow you down along your morning travels on Thursday. There could be a passing shower or two during the day on Thursday, but notice to the west, again, as we were mentioning, it looks like this general area, southwestern portions of Missouri, northwestern portions of Arkansas through the Ozarks, that's going to be the area where we have the strong and severe thunderstorm threat. Large hail looks to be the biggest impact with that storm system. And you'll have several clusters of storms that will then congeal into a larger cluster of storms that will make progress across the Mid-South heading through the evening hours. That's Thursday evening. So when you're checking in with meteorologist Spencer Denton here on Action News 5, we may be having a very active evening period of your Thursday where we'll have waves of showers and storms, because this is just one wave. Another one's developing out west. So this is your strong or severe thunderstorm wave. This one will be behind it. This will become the heavy rain threat that could linger into the morning hours of Friday. So a morning commute on Friday could be quite messy. And depending on where exactly that heaviest band of rain sets up shop, because remember, we've got a frontal boundary that's going to be sluggishly working its way southward and in a process of stalling out. That's what's going to help to facilitate those chances for rain that could be heavy at times as that system works its way down towards the south. But again, depending on where that would likely set up, I'd say from I-40 point southward has the higher potential for any flood concerns or widespread flood concerns as the front slips southward during the morning hours. We should get most of the rain out of here by midday. Lingering shower chance, maybe a pop-up pocket of clouds that will clear out for some sunshine. We go into the overnight period of Friday into early Saturday, and we set up a okay weekend. I say okay because there could still be a few isolated showers from time to time, primarily on Saturday morning. Then another front will make progress into the area. That will happen late Sunday into your Monday, ushering in a blast of wintry weather. So while we have been so warm as of late, we're about to see a transition back to the season that we are currently in and about to come clawing out of, heading into spring next week. And the first day of spring, Tuesday, 58 the high temperature. We'll go middle 60s, so by the time we head towards the first full day of spring, that's next Wednesday. But we got to get there first. Of course, you can find out those details on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. Download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store, anywhere and everywhere where you can look at the forecast. Also, severe weather alerts. Hopefully we don't have to see those popping up on your phones here as we head towards the latter portion of the week. So again, mixture of clouds and sunshine for Wednesday and Thursday. A few more clouds in the skies on Thursday. Chances for a few showers here or there during the day. The bulk of the rain is overnight Thursday into Friday. So when you look at the First Alert Weather app, just know that the devil's in the details. You got to pull out that forecast because they'll say 30% on there, and you probably think to yourself, oh, it's not that bad. It's really the overnight period that has the highest rain chance. That's why we have the 80% right there. Morning rain chances on Friday, high near 70 degrees. Then we go into your Saturday, not looking terribly bad for the Silky St. Patrick's Day parade. That kicks off 2 p.m. on Saturday down Beale Street. But of course, a lot of folks are going to be out there a little earlier than that, getting their place along Beale Street. Temperatures in the 50s, 60s by the afternoon hours, a light northwesterly breeze and variably cloudy skies. Again, I'm keeping a small chance of a shower in the forecast just because of how this frontal boundary may sluggishly work its way down towards the south. And if it does slow down to a point, it may back in a couple of showers. And we've mentioned that the last couple of days, that it's really iffy. It's trending more optimistic. So let's hope that that continues to be the case here. We go into St. Patrick's Day itself on Sunday. Get ready for that second front moving through the area. 50s for highs, lows down into the 30s. Could be freezing by early Tuesday morning in some of the outlying areas to head into the final hours of winter with a high of 58, close to 60 degrees on Tuesday. That's a little bit below average. We'll go even warmer. Again, you can find out on the 10-day forecast on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app, which is a download in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We've been talking a lot about ways to better your life through health, through fitness, diet and exercise, what have you. And there are direct links and studies that suggest that you can reduce your colon cancer risk through diet and exercise. Let's bring on someone at the digital desk to help us kind of sort through this new research. I'm joined now by Dr. Paul Johnson, another frequent guest on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Join us this morning. Dr. Johnson, tell me about the risk of colorectal cancer and how to reduce it. Is it just overall diet and exercise? Is it specific things that we can do today? Where do we start with this? Good morning.
Good morning. So colon cancer there is a direct link between obesity and diet and exercise to increased risk of having the disease. The American Cancer Society notes that at least 18% of all cancers and about 16% of cancer deaths are related to poor nutrition, alcohol consumption, etc. So it's incumbent on us to make sure that we have our diet and exercise in order to decrease those risks, especially on this month, which is Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month.
So, example out there, if we are, eating breakfast, eating lunch, eating dinner, how do we better ourselves with our diet?
I think one of the key things that we can do is increase our fiber intake. On average, Americans only take in about 16 grams of fiber per day. That's way under what we should for men and women should be between 25 to 30 grams per day. So as you can tell, we're not getting enough in our diet. So one way you can do to make it up is take fiber supplementation such as Metamucil or Consul. That's what I recommend to my patients, but also just having a diet that's filled with whole grains, fruits and vegetables, and adding things like beans and legumes, which you can put in your salads and your soups. Those kind of items will actually increase your the amount of fiber in your diet and hopefully get you to the point where you're reaching those daily intake numbers.
Can you tell again how much fiber we should get each and every day in our diet?
For women, about 25 grams. For men, about 30 grams a day. And again,
Wow.
we're getting about 16 as Americans. Yes.
Okay, and so my understanding, just off the top of my head, fruits and vegetables have a lot of fiber. What else does?
Fruits and vegetables, beans, quinoa, barley, farro, all of those are great fiber-rich alternatives, and you want to stay away from the starchy white grains like white rice and pasta if you can.
Okay, good. That's a good start. I like that. Where else? So we need more fiber in our diet. How else can we reduce our colon cancer risk?
Well, the things we want to be aware of is also foods that we should avoid. So, very popular, everybody says avoid red meats and processed food. It's absolutely true. Of course, everything in moderation, but if we can lean towards meats that are white and lean, like chicken, turkey, and fish, which are great alternatives. The other thing that is very high in American diets is sugar sweetened beverages and alcohol consumption. So we want to be able to really temper down those items and replace it with water, because water is one of the things that is great for colon health. The colon as an organ, its main job is to reabsorb all the water that we're ingesting. So if you're constipated, that means your colon is having to take out so much water that your stool is getting harder.
I like that. These are good practical things that people can implement today, this week, moving forward. And tell us about the Healthier 901 Challenge and how this all kind of runs together for Memphis and the Mid-South.
Thank you. WMC has been an early adopter of Healthier 901. It's an initiative that's powered by Methodist Le Bonheur Healthcare, and it challenges Memphis and the Mid-South to lose 1 million pounds in 3 years. So it's way more than a weight loss challenge. It's about making lasting change. I'm on it. Shout out to my personal trainer, Greg at Best Body Fitness. We're on our fitness goal journey, and you can download this app and it helps you track your physical activity. It logs your meals, manages your calories, and you can join a community of people who are doing the same things that you're doing, just trying to be healthier.
Good stuff, Dr. Johnson. Anything else before we let you go that you'd like to say with regards to reducing colon cancer risk, diet, exercise, that sort of thing? Again, the guidelines for exercise for most adults.
Absolutely. Before I leave, I would be remiss on this month to not tell you to get your screening colonoscopies. At age 45, everyone of average risk should be getting their colonoscopy because colon cancer is preventable, beatable, and treatable, and we want you to be a good steward of your own health.
Do you want to say anything about exercise?
Oh, absolutely. Exercise is one of the ways to decrease your risk of colon cancer as well. And so we want to encourage that if you can do moderate exercise at least 3 times a week, that will also decrease your risk of colon cancer.
All right, Dr. Paul Johnson joining us once again on the digital desk. We appreciate the healthy tidbits, not only for diet, but also exercise. Dr. Johnson, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, another live look from our high five camera there outside the University of Memphis there. Beautiful day, 63 degrees, 9/11. We're back in 60 seconds. Okay, Andrew Douglas here in the Action News 5 digital desk. April is Head and Neck Cancer Awareness Month, and you may not know how to get screened here or the probability of perhaps you and the chances of getting a cancer affiliated with your head area or your neck area. Joining me now to talk about this is Dr. John Gleistein. He's with Methodist Le Bonheur Healthcare. John, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Doing well. Thank you.
Great, great. So let's talk a little bit about this Awareness Month and why do you think it exists? Is there just people that just kind of not really know much about head and neck cancers, or is it kind of tough to diagnose? Explain.
Well, it's a good question. Head and neck cancers are something that can present in a variety of different ways. And some people, it's very obvious because they have a really sore spot on the tongue, or they are having a lot of difficulty swallowing. But in some people, it can be a lot more subtle. Sometimes they'll be shaving and they'll notice there's a new spot on their neck that they weren't aware of before. So there are a lot of different ways that these cancers can present, and it's important to be aware of them so that you can try and get checked out. The other thing is that there aren't great screening tests. It's not something that's going to show up on routine blood work. So being aware of the different signs and symptoms is something that can help you out a lot.
Wow. Okay. So are there any screenings at all, or you just have to watch out for the symptoms?
Yeah, the best thing you can do is if you're concerned about something is get it checked out. So sometimes these patients will come to us sent by their dentist who's cleaning their teeth, and they look in the mouth and see something that doesn't look right. Or maybe it's their dermatologist or their primary care doctor sees something on their regular exam that looks abnormal and sends them in. But a lot of times it's the patients themselves who realize something's different and they want to get it checked out.
I follow you. Okay, so when it comes to head and neck cancer, what parts of the body are included in that whole process?
So head and neck cancer is a subset of cancers that include the face, anywhere on the skin, inside the mouth, the throat, the voice box, the ears, and then all the salivary glands, the saliva-producing glands throughout the face and neck.
Okay, good to know there. So obviously it includes everything around the face. Let's talk now about the warning signs, because it sounds like that is something that's so important. What should people watch for?
So signs that could be worrisome are there's a new sore that's developed inside the mouth that doesn't go away quickly. You know, sores can pop up inside the mouth that are totally normal, but usually they will go away within 1 or 2 weeks. Something that's been there for longer is something that needs to get checked out. A sore throat that hasn't gone away, a change in your voice that hasn't gone away. In short periods, all these are normal findings, but when they last for a while, that's something to really be concerned about. And then, as I was saying earlier, a neck mass, if something pops up and there's a lump on your neck that wasn't there before, that's a concerning finding.
How common are head and neck cancers?
They're actually increasing in frequency. So it's a lot of different types of cancers in the country are going down in frequency. Head and neck cancer is rising. And so in the general population, it's not something that you see every day, but as a head and neck cancer specialist, I see new head and neck cancers almost every single day.
How curable is this cancer? I mean, what's the success rate? I mean, cancers go on all sides of the spectrum there. I mean, is it one that's got a good success rate?
That varies tremendously based off how early you catch it. So if you catch something that's just a small spot, that's something that's going to be very treatable. If it's something that you've been aware of these symptoms for a year, but you've been neglecting to go get it checked out, it could be a lot more serious and could be a lot more difficult to treat.
You mentioned it's growing. Why is it growing, you think?
Well, the specific type of cancer that's really growing is throat cancer caused by the HPV virus, the human papilloma virus. This is the same virus that causes cervical cancer in women, and it's the same virus that you are protecting against when you get your Gardasil vaccine as a teenager. And so that particular type of cancer is on the rise. And the good news about it is that it actually is more treatable than some of the other cancers that are associated with a long history of smoking and drinking, like many other head and neck cancers are.
So how can we prevent head and neck cancer, or can we prevent it at all?
Well, the biggest risk factors for head and neck cancer, the number one by far is smoking. So if you're a smoker, quitting smoking is definitely the best thing you can do, not only for for your overall body health, but to reduce your risks of developing a head and neck cancer in the future. The other thing is with these cancers that are caused by the HPV virus, getting vaccinated against the HPV virus can help protect you from ever developing one in the first place.
Should we be performing self-exams on one another or each other, I guess?
Well, I think that being aware of what's going on inside of your mouth and what's going on in your neck are something that can be very helpful. Sometimes patients come in and they say, I was brushing my teeth and noticed this spot on the roof of my mouth that hadn't been there before. And, that's a way to potentially catch something early. And so if you just look in your mouth from time to time or feel your neck from time to time, and if something feels different to you, then go get it checked out. It may be nothing, but potentially you're catching something early that can really save you.
If someone notices a change in their voice, or they find a lump, or, as you mentioned, there's a spot, in their mouth that is unusual and they've never seen before, what should they do?
Well, usually the most common route is someone goes and sees their primary care doctor, and the primary care doctor will look at it and either say, oh, this is nothing, this is a benign spot or just a normal lymph node. But if they have any concern whatsoever, they'll send them on to a head and neck specialist such as myself and get them checked out for further exam.
Okay, so early prevention is key. Early detection, I should say, is key. Anything else you'd like to mention before we move on, Doctor?
Well, I think that being aware of your own health is something that's going to serve you well throughout your entire life. So whether it's trying to catch a cancer early or just trying to be aware of what your body's trying to tell you is important. So that combined with quitting smoking are definitely the two best things you can do to stay in good health and try to prevent head and neck cancers from ever developing.
Is there a place, Doctor, where we can get some more information about head and neck cancers?
Yes, the American Head and Neck Society is a society that there are links to online that can give lots of information for patients. There are videos, there are educational materials, and so if there's something you're interested in learning more about, that's a great place to look.
All right, Dr. John Gleistein with Methodist Le Bonheur Healthcare. We appreciate you telling us about head and neck cancers. Certainly April is Head and Neck Cancer Awareness Month. Thanks so very much for bringing awareness to this issue.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on this Wednesday. Temperatures are starting off in the 50s. We'll work our way through the 70s this afternoon. Not bad as we go through this Wednesday. A mixture of clouds and sunshine, a southwesterly breeze around 10 to 15 miles per hour. And again, a lot of sunshine still expected today, though at times some high and mid-level clouds may streak through, blotting it out just a little bit, blotting out the sunshine. But that spring warmth, this is more akin to what we would normally see the latter portion of April into early May. 77 in Memphis, Mariana at 77. Abbeville in northern Lafayette County, Mississippi at 76. Maury City going for 78 degrees today. In Crockett County, Bolivar and Hardeman County, 78 degrees this afternoon. Of course, well above average for this time of the year. Average high about 64 degrees. We get better rain chances to come into our area, giving you a first alert to the potential for maybe some heavy rainfall and even a strong storm or two that will roll into the area late Thursday heading into Friday. We stay dry though today outside of maybe a passing shower primarily across northwest Tennessee this morning. But other than that, I think we're going to be dry through the course of the day. The better rain chances, while it looks, yes, we're going to have rain moving into the region on Thursday. This is going to be predicated after sunset. Continues Friday, Thursday night into your Friday. And notice there's a band of heavy rainfall that could set up shop, if not in the Action News 5 coverage area, the southern portions of the Action News 5 coverage area, maybe just outside, that could lead up to some flooding concerns heading into your Friday. Not to mention, there's also a risk for a few strong and severe thunderstorms. The higher risk outside of this view here, an enhanced risk for strong and severe thunderstorms across portions of southwestern Missouri and northwestern portions of Arkansas. But we're right on the edge of not just this risk, but also Friday's risk. So we'll see kind of a transfer between Thursday into Friday. There's going to be a risk of some stronger storms that likely impact the Mid-South heading through Thursday evening. There's a window of time there where we will have everything kind of together for that potential. I think mainly from sunset through about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning on Friday, but then we lend itself to the heavy rain potential. So let's go hour by hour with our first alert futurecast. And what you'll notice again today, outside of a few faults of warm breezes that are going to get a little aggressive from time to time, some clouds here and there, temperatures will be back up into the 70s amid some sunshine through the course of the day. Tonight we're down into the 60s, could be a couple sprinkled in upper 50s where the skies are able to stay clear. Clouds, fog banks could slow you down along your morning travels on Thursday. There could be a passing shower or two during the day on Thursday, but notice to the west, again, as we were mentioning, it looks like this general area, southwestern portions of Missouri, northwestern portions of Arkansas through the Ozarks, that's going to be the area where we have the strong and severe thunderstorm threat. Large hail looks to be the biggest impact with that storm system. And you'll have several clusters of storms that will then congeal into a larger cluster of storms that will make progress across the Mid-South heading through the evening hours. That's Thursday evening. So when you're checking with meteorologist Spencer Denton here on Action News 5, we may be having a very active evening period of your Thursday where we'll have waves of showers and storms, because this is just one wave. Another one's developing out west. So this is your strong or severe thunderstorm wave. This one will be behind it. This will become the heavy rain threat that could linger into the morning hours of Friday. So a morning commute on Friday could be quite messy. And depending on where exactly that heaviest band of rain sets up shop, because remember, we've got a frontal boundary that's going to be sluggishly working its way southward and in a process of stalling out. That's what's going to help to facilitate those chances for rain that could be heavy at times as that system works its way down towards the south. But again, depending on where that would likely set up, I'd say from I-40 point southward has the higher potential for any flood concerns or widespread flood concerns as the front slips southward during the morning hours. We should get most of the rain out of here by midday. Lingering shower chance, maybe a pop-up pocket of clouds that will clear out for some sunshine. We go into the overnight period of Friday into early Saturday, and we set up a okay weekend. I say okay because there could still be a few isolated showers from time to time, primarily on Saturday morning. Then another front will make progress into the area. That will happen late Sunday into your Monday, ushering in a blast of wintry weather. So while we have been so warm as of late, we're about to see a transition back to the season that we are currently in and about to come clawing out of, heading into spring next week. And the first day of spring, Tuesday, 58 the high temperature. We'll go middle 60s, so by the time we head towards the first full day of spring, that's next Wednesday. But we got to get there first. Of course, you can find out those details on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. Download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store, anywhere and everywhere where you can look at the forecast. Also, severe weather alerts. Hopefully we don't have to see those popping up on your phones here as we head towards the latter portion of the week. So again, mixture of clouds and sunshine for Wednesday and Thursday. A few more clouds in the skies on Thursday. Chances for a few showers here or there during the day. The bulk of the rain is overnight Thursday into Friday. So when you look at the First Alert Weather app, just know that the devil's in the details. You got to pull out that forecast, because they'll say 30% on there and you probably think to yourself, oh, it's not that bad. It's really the overnight period that has the highest rain chance. That's why we have the 80% right there. Morning rain chances on Friday, high near 70 degrees. Then we go into your Saturday, not looking terribly bad for the Silky St. Patrick's Day parade. That kicks off 2 p.m. on Saturday down Beale Street. But of course, a lot of folks are going to be out there a little earlier than that, getting their place along Beale Street. Temperatures in the 50s, 60s by the afternoon. Hours of light northwesterly breeze and variably cloudy skies. Again, I'm keeping a small chance of a shower in the forecast just because of how this frontal boundary may sluggishly work its way down towards the south. And if it does slow down to a point, it may back in a couple of showers. And we've mentioned that the last couple of days, that it's really iffy. It's trending more optimistic. So let's hope that that continues to be the case here. We go into St. Patrick's Day itself on Sunday. Get ready for that second front moving through the area. 50s for highs, lows down into the 30s. Could be freezing by early Tuesday morning in some of the outlying areas to head into the final hours of winter with a high of 58, close to 60 degrees on Tuesday. That's a little bit below average. We'll go even warmer. Again, you can find out on the 10-day forecast on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app, which is a download in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. As you can see, there are some clouds in the area. 9:30 is the time, 63 degrees. We'll be talking more about your forecast coming up in just a little bit. But right now, I want to talk about sleep. We are always trying to find the best optimal amount of sleep. How much should we get? The different circumstances in terms of ways to get the best sleep. You know, sometimes we had something earlier today that talked about how napping can be very beneficial. It can also be harmful depending on when you get that nap. We're going to be talking to a sleep scientist in any moment. In fact, I believe she is joining us right now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Dr. Rebecca Robbins, sleep scientist at Brigham and Women's Hospital there. She is joining us to talk about ways to optimize our sleep so that we can live a best life in all facets, because we know, Dr. Robbins, that sleep is so important to our well-being. Where do we begin? Do we have kind of a benchmark of how many hours of sleep an adult should get and when we should go to sleep? Good morning.
Good morning. I'm so excited to join you from the Grand Wailea Resort in Maui to talk about sleep and some of the cool things I'm working with Hilton Hotels on to improve the guest sleep experience. So you hit the nail on the head. a lot of millions of Americans struggle each and every night. About 1 in 3 adults struggle to either fall asleep or wake up and struggle to fall back asleep. We also have a problem of poor sleep quality in our country. Fewer than 3 in 10 adults report that their sleep is restorative. So for all of those reasons, a lot of challenges when it comes to sleep, and the contributing factors to those are multifactorial. It's our always on culture, our constant go, 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 social media, so many deterrents to our ability to unplug and be restored. So I think in response to all of this, Hilton reported recently that the number one reason that individuals are traveling in 2024 is to be restored. So I think we're kind of as a nation calling out for some of these tools and techniques.
So, Dr. Robbins, let me ask you: should we get 7 hours of sleep? Should that be the goal? Should we have a goal of more hours of sleep? And does it matter if we get like maybe 5.5 to 6 on one sleeping time period, and then maybe take a nap to eventually get 7 or 7.5? Where do you stand on that?
There are a couple components of sleep that make it restorative and rejuvenating. The first is duration. And for the vast majority of adults, you mentioned 7, but we actually need somewhere between 7 and some people really need closer to 9 hours to support their optimal daytime functioning. Where you are on that spectrum, there's a lot of individual difference. So you want to kind of find, if you sleep 7 hours, check in and see how you feel in the afternoon. If you get 8, see how you feel in the afternoon. When you're really able to tell me that I feel rested, then you probably hit your personal sleep number. But the proportion of people at the population level that really are sleeping less than 6 hours and do have a healthy, profile in terms of their body health, their brain health, are very few in number. So we really see the optimal health and well-being in that range of healthy duration from 7 to 9 hours. In a perfect world, we're also doing another really important thing, which is keeping our schedules consistent. The children in our population know this all too well, and they're the most well-rested in our society because they get enough sleep and they keep their sleep consistent. They have sleep at bedtime, and mommy or daddy's voice gets quiet as they lead into the bedtime period. But we think as adults that we're somehow immune to those fundamental needs of routines and schedules. But they really are more important than ever for all of us.
Does it matter if we have 1 sleep session or 2?
Great question. So in a perfect world, we're hitting your number, and that's again somewhere between 7 and 9 hours. Now, making up for lost sleep can be done really, with naps. If you had a week, say, of sleep, just burning the candle, of sleep deprivation, burning the candle at both ends, then you might want to think about adding in some naps if you're able to in the afternoon. That's the best way to pay back lost sleep. Think of it maybe more as a Band-Aid, or maybe in a life stage. Early parents to newborns desperately need naps because of their frequent nighttime awakenings and just won't be able to get that consolidated amount of sleep. And there are also, sometimes career professional obligations start to flare, and you're at a time where maybe you're not able to meet that personal sleep need each and every night. Do try to get back on track as soon as possible. But when you're in the trenches with one of those scenarios, you can absolutely think about, again, paying back lost sleep with naps. 20 or fewer minutes is a good kind of approach if you're a little bit sleepy, and if you're really tired and really cutting sleep short, then you might want to try for a 90-minute nap, say on a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon.
I've heard more people complain about daylight saving time and how it messes up their sleep schedule. And not only that, doctor, but also when people travel, they get all out of whack when it comes to sleep. How do we manage all that?
What we're talking about here are changes to our circadian rhythm, and those are hard because this internal circuitry doesn't move on a dime. So both for the transition to daylight saving time and when we're traveling and combating jet lag, a couple things to keep in mind. Number one, use blue light to your advantage. So avoid blue emitting screens before bedtime and really kind of get outside into the natural sunlight. That's the strongest cue to our brain for when we should be tired and when we should be alert. So going into the sunlight in the morning, stops the floodgates of melatonin, the sleep hormone in the brain, and allows us to be alert and awake. Then conversely, going into darkness allows melatonin to secrete. So sunlight exposure is critical. Emphasize the relaxation. Couple pages of a book, a shower.
I was just going to say, you froze there for a minute. We lost that last part. Can you say that again?
Oh no. So the second recommendation is to emphasize your wind down routine, the set of activities that you can ideally do at home that'll help you transition to daylight saving time. And if you're combating jet lag, and they're ideally activities that you can take with you when you travel. So a breathing exercise, a meditation ritual, and they don't have to be long. A couple minutes of breathing exercises can go a really long way, or a warm shower, a couple pages in a book. Really emphasize those relaxation rituals in this week after the daylight saving time transition, and that could also be really beneficial when you travel. Now, lastly, for travelers, do look into hotels that are making your sleep a priority. I'm partnering with Hilton to, as their sleep expert, to help them draw more attention to the guest sleep experience, and we're working on some really exciting sleep retreats for travelers. And here at the Grand Wailea, it's going to be the kickoff for this exciting new set of services for travelers. So guests can come and participate in lectures with me on sleep science and circadian rhythms, and really learn a bunch of tools to support their sleep when they go back home, and enjoy the beautiful spa here with sleep promoting massages and meditation, et cetera. Again, with the goal of going home equipped with the resources that will allow you to make sleep a priority.
What about supplements? Where do you stand on melatonin, valerian root, some others out there, that are over the counter? And, because there are some people that have difficult times not only falling asleep, but staying asleep too.
Mm-hmm. So sleep aids are widely used. If you walk into any drugstore, you see shelves upon shelves of these elixirs, tablets offering the promise of a good night's sleep. If you think about it, it's really the holy grail, because sleep is a little bit of a different health behavior than an exercise or nutrition. Because even if you set yourself up for success, there will be nights when you struggle, just because sleep can't be perfect every night, because it's a function of our stress levels that we have, what we do during the day. So keep that in mind, but do also know that the first line of defense are the healthy sleep strategies that we've talked about: hitting your nightly need, keeping your schedules consistent, winding down and relaxing. All of those things, using blue light to your advantage, are kind of the old school, but time-tested strategies that we can all benefit from. And these aren't sweeping huge changes in many ways. It's getting off screens, cultivating these relaxation rituals and the relaxation response. So that's the front line. But if you're struggling, there can be a very important time and place for certain supplements, or melatonin, for instance, is of course the sleep hormone that is secreted in the brain when we go into a cool, dark environment, and then the cessation of the flow of melatonin in the morning when we go into the sunshine is how we're able to start our day. So melatonin supplementation is increasingly common. A quick note that we just don't know its long-term implications, so always talk to your medical provider. And again, if you're kind of using aids, whether they're pharmacological in nature or over the counter, always talk to your doctor. But generally speaking, try to wean yourself off slowly but surely, and move towards some of these behavioral tips and strategies.
This has been a great conversation, Doctor. Anything else we can touch on before we let you go?
Well, information about these sleep tips and the sleep retreats for Hilton and here at the Grand Wailea are all available on their website at grandwailea.com.
All right, Dr. Rebecca Robbins, we appreciate you and offering up the best ways to optimize our sleep. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, another live look from our High Five camera there in Midtown Memphis. 63 degrees, 9:40 is the time. We're back in 60 seconds. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Have you heard of Concord Academy? It is a school in East Memphis. They are actually celebrating 40 years in existence, and they do amazing things throughout the year. This is a school that helps children with disabilities, and they have a big event coming up later this month, the annual Blue Jean Ball on March 22nd. I want to bring in right now Robbie Lear. He is at Concord Academy, one of the organizers of the Blue Jean Ball. Joining us on the digital desk, Robbie, good morning to you. How are things at Concord?
They're going great right now. It's a little, I guess, dead over here right now. It's spring break. And apologies, I'm getting some feedback on this.
I hear that.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear a little bit of feedback. It might be another source that's also maybe on. Maybe you can mute that other source or something to that effect. But you look great. Tell us about Concord Academy first off. Some people might be hearing it for the very first time. Can you just briefly explain a little bit about the school over the last 4 decades?
Yeah, so about 40 years ago, there were a bunch of parents got together that were not very satisfied with the education that their students with learning differences were getting at different schools. So they came together and started Concord Academy, and we're a school that helps students with learning differences. And what that means is, we serve students middle school and high school that are on the autism spectrum, have learning disabilities, developmental disabilities, ADD, ADHD, and a number of other neurodiverse learning needs. And we prepare these students for not just success in the classroom, but we prepare them for lifelong success, whatever that success looks like. Which whatever that success is means a little something different to every student. But yeah, we are here to really champion all of our students.
That's fantastic. And full disclosure, I've been a part of many 5Ks and various events at Concord Academy, helping you guys raise money for that amazing school that you have there, right on the corner of, I believe it's Mendenhall and Walnut Grove, right?
That's correct. Yeah, we've been here for 40 years.
Excellent. So tell me about the annual Blue Jean Ball. This is coming up March 22nd.
Yeah, March 22nd at Esplanade Memphis in Cordova. It's our annual biggest fundraiser, and it's an evening. We have hundreds of live silent auction items. Live music by some local favorites, Kevin and Bethany Page. We'll have, dinner, drinks, dancing, revelry, a little bit of everything. It's a great night. And like I said, it's our biggest fundraiser of the year. We want to get as many people there as possible. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're not going to want to miss it.
Fantastic. So it's March 22nd. Benefiting Concord Academy. Where is this event? Is it at the school?
It's at Esplanade Memphis, which is in Cordova, not just right off of Germantown Parkway.
Okay, and tell us about tickets and how people can get a ticket and support the school.
So if you want to go to concord-academy.org. You can find out more about the event. You can purchase tickets if you'd like to. We still have some sponsorships available. We also, if you'd like to you're not able to attend, you'd like to donate to the event or just Concord in general, you can do that there. And we are a registered 501c3. So please, if you can, come support the school, whether that's being there, bidding on auction items, or you want to sponsor, you want to donate. Every little bit helps.
What is that address again? Concord-academy.org?
Concord, CONCORD-academy.org.
Okay, fantastic. And again, for those people out there that may have missed the first part of your interview here because we had a little bit of audio issues. Talk a little bit about Concord Academy, how it began, and what it does each and every day throughout the year.
Yeah, so sorry about the audio issues, but yeah, so for 40 years we've been helping students 6th grade through 12th grade with learning differences succeed and thrive. And I'm not sure if you heard this part, but the learning differences that we're talking about, we have about half of our students are on the autism spectrum. We have a number of different learning disabilities, developmental disabilities, ADD, ADHD, depression, a slew of neurodiverse learning needs. And in a small classroom sizes, we are able to really help these kids with, not just their academics, but with social, emotional learning, and just really setting them up to succeed, not just in the classroom, but beyond Concord, and set them up for success in life.
Well, you guys are doing yeoman's work over there. We appreciate what you and the staff do each and every day. How big are the classrooms in terms of students, I should say?
We generally have about 5 to 10 students per class. Again, we just try to be really hands-on, keep the classes as small as possible. But we're growing. This is our 40th anniversary, and we're really looking forward right now to the next 40 years and what that means. And that means hopefully expanding grades and getting as many students that need our help here as possible.
All right, Robbie, anything else before we let you go about the annual event, March 22nd, the Blue Jean Ball? Anything else you can talk about with regards to Concord?
No, I mean, just, come out, and this is such a big milestone for us. And, our big 40th anniversary celebration is going to be at the Blue Jean Ball. And, as the name kind of tells you, wear your favorite pair of blue jeans. If you want to, throw on a cowboy hat and some cowboy boots. But come on down, support the school. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Okay, Robbie Lear with Concord Academy, concord-academy.org. Robbie, we appreciate it, and good luck at the ball, March 22nd.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Andrew.
Sure that we are in the optimal position to have the best possible health so we can have the best possible life right here in Memphis and the Mid-South. One of the things we got to make sure that we always deal with is make sure that we have the proper checkups at the proper times throughout our lives, right? So we got to have early detection and got to have the proper checkups, routine screening, that sort of thing. Let's bring in Dr. Paul Johnson. He works at Methodist Le Bonheur Healthcare to talk about colon cancer and colon cancer awareness. How are you, Dr. Johnson?
I'm doing well. How are you today?
I appreciate you being here, doing fantastically. So tell me about colon cancer awareness. Tell me about the idea of early detection and routine screening and how important that is. I would think it's paramount, right?
Absolutely paramount. So happy Colorectal Awareness Month. It's the month of March. We celebrate, we wear our blue to celebrate the survivors and also honor those who are fighting and active in the fight against this disease. So first, defining what colorectal cancer is. It starts out as a non-cancerous growth in the colon or rectum called polyps. And those polyps, if they are not taken care of through screening and prevention, can transform over time into cancerous cells and grow unchecked. And that's where we run into trouble with our healthcare. So it's important that starting at age 45, everyone who is of average risk should be getting their colonoscopy done. And that the reason we do colonoscopy is that not only can we detect those polyps, we can remove them at the same time. And then your risk of getting cancer in those areas then drops down to 0.
Is there any idea what brings on these polyps? Is it diet? Is it hereditary? Something else?
There's different aspects to these polyps. So there's a small percent that is related to genetics and um, hereditary genetics, etc. However, most of them are actually sporadic. So the importance of diet, exercise, eliminating tobacco use, and having alcohol consumption in moderation, those factors tend to lend towards less risk of having colon and rectal cancer.
So if someone's watching, because we have thousands of people that watch us here on the digital desk each and every day, Dr. Johnson, if someone's watching and they think, well, I probably need a screening, but I don't know if someone takes my insurance or not, what would you recommend they do?
So go to your primary care doctor and they will refer you to the appropriate person who does take your insurance. But the key is, even if you're not insured, there are ways that we can do screening. While colonoscopy remains the gold standard because, again, we can detect and also treat at the same time, there are other tests that can be done, such as fecal immunohistochemical test that can be done. And the best test is the one that gets done. So we just want, if you don't have insurance, talk to your primary care physician, and there are other options that we can take as well.
I see a lot of commercials for Color Guard. Is that what it's called? I'm not sure, but essentially where you send off a stool sample and they test it, right?
Correct. That's another screening modality, Cologuard. The key with Cologuard, it does have high detection rates as well. But the thing is, if a Cologuard is positive, you're going to have to go for your colonoscopy anyway. So we just recommend going straight forward with your colonoscopy because, again, it is remains the gold standard.
Gotcha. All right. Anything else we can mention that we haven't touched on you feel is important with regards to colon cancer awareness, early detection, routine screening, that sort of thing, Dr. Johnson?
I want you to make sure that you talk to your primary care doctor and your gastroenterologist to make sure that you are of average risk, because there are certain times where if you have first degree relatives who have been diagnosed early, that you might want to be screened before the age of 45.
All right, Dr. Paul Johnson with Methodist Le Bonheur Healthcare talking about colon cancer awareness and the importance of early detection and routine screening. We appreciate the time, Dr. Johnson. Valuable information. Thanks so very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on this Wednesday. Temperatures are starting off in the 50s. We'll work our way through the 70s this afternoon. Not bad as we go through this Wednesday. A mixture of clouds and sunshine, a southwesterly breeze around 10 to 15 miles per hour. And again, a lot of sunshine still expected today, though at times some high and mid-level clouds may streak through, blotting it out just a little bit, blotting out the sunshine. But that spring warmth, this is more akin to what we would normally see the latter portion of April into early May. 77 in Memphis, Mariana at 77. Abbeville in northern Lafayette County, Mississippi at 76. Maury City going for 78 degrees today. In Crockett County, Bolivar in Hardeman County, 78 degrees this afternoon. Of course, well above average for this time of the year. Average high about 64 degrees. We get better rain chances to come into our area, giving you a first alert to the potential for maybe some heavy rainfall and even a strong storm or two that will roll into the area late Thursday heading into Friday. We stay dry though today outside of maybe a passing shower primarily across northwest Tennessee this morning. But other than that, I think we're going to be dry through the course of the day. The better rain chances, while it looks, yes, we're going to have rain moving into the region on Thursday, this is going to be predicated after sunset. Continues Thursday night into your Friday. And notice there's a band of heavy rainfall that could set up shop, if not in the Action News 5 coverage area, the southern portions of the Action News 5 coverage area, maybe just outside, that could lead up to some flooding concerns heading into your Friday. Not to mention, there's also a risk for a few strong and severe thunderstorms. The higher risk outside of this view here, an enhanced risk for strong and severe thunderstorms across portions of southwestern Missouri and northwestern portions of Arkansas. But we're right on the edge of not just this risk, but also Friday's risk. So we'll see kind of a transfer between Thursday into Friday. There's going to be a risk of some stronger storms that likely impact the Mid-South heading through Thursday evening. There's a window of time there where we will have everything kind of together for that potential. I think mainly from sunset through about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning on Friday, but then we lend itself to the heavy rain potential. So let's go hour by hour with our first alert futurecast. And what you'll notice again today, outside of a few faults of warm breezes that are going to get a little aggressive from time to time, some clouds here and there, temperatures will be back up into the 70s amid some sunshine through the course of the day. Tonight we're down into the 60s, could be a couple sprinkled in upper 50s where the skies are able to stay clear. Clouds, fog banks could slow you down along your morning travels on Thursday. There could be a passing shower or two during the day on Thursday, but notice to the west, again, as we were mentioning, it looks like this general area, southwestern portions of Missouri, northwestern portions of Arkansas through the Ozarks, that's going to be the area where we have the strong and severe thunderstorm threat. Large hail looks to be the biggest impact with that storm system. And you'll have several clusters of storms that will then congeal into a larger cluster of storms that will make progress across the Mid-South heading through the evening hours. That's Thursday evening. So when you're checking with meteorologist Spencer Denton here on Action News 5, we may be having a very active evening period of your Thursday where we'll have waves of showers and storms, because this is just one wave. Another one's developing out west. So this is your strong or severe thunderstorm wave. This one will be behind it. This will become the heavy rain threat that could linger into the morning hours of Friday. So a morning commute on Friday could be quite messy, and depending on where exactly that heaviest band of rain sets up shop, because remember, we've got a frontal boundary that's going to be sluggishly working its way southward and in a process of stalling out. That's what's going to help to facilitate those chances for rain that could be heavy at times as that system works its way down towards the south. But again, depending on where that would likely set up, I'd say from I-40 point southward has the higher potential for any flood concerns or widespread flood concerns as the front slips southward during the morning hours. We should get most of the rain out of here by midday. Lingering shower chance, maybe a pop-up pocket of clouds that will clear out for some sunshine. We go into the overnight period of Friday into early Saturday, and we set up a okay weekend. I say okay because there could still be a few isolated showers from time to time, primarily on Saturday morning. Then another front will make progress into the area. That will happen late Sunday into your Monday, ushering in a blast of wintry weather. So while we have been so warm as of late, we're about to see a transition back to the season that we are currently in and about to come clawing out of, heading into spring next week. And the first day of spring, Tuesday, 58 the high temperature. We'll go middle 60s, though, by the time we head towards the first full day of spring. That's next Wednesday. But we got to get there first, of course. You can find out those details on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. Download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store, anywhere and everywhere where you can look at the forecast. Also, severe weather alerts. Hopefully we don't have to see those popping up on your phones here as we head towards the latter portion of the week. So again, mixture of clouds and sunshine for Wednesday and Thursday. A few more clouds in the skies on Thursday. Chances for a few showers here or there during the day. The bulk of the rain is overnight Thursday into Friday. So when you look at the First Alert Weather app, just know that the devil's in the details. You got to pull out that forecast because they'll say 30% on there and you probably think to yourself, oh, it's not that bad. It's really the overnight period that has the highest rain chance. That's why we have the 80% right there. Morning rain chances on Friday, high near 70 degrees. Then we go into your Saturday, not looking terribly bad for the Silky St. Patrick's Day parade. That kicks off 2 p.m. on Saturday down Beale Street. But of course, a lot of folks are going to be out there a little earlier than that, getting their place along Beale Street. Temperatures in the 50s, 60s by the afternoon. Hours of light northwesterly breeze and variably cloudy skies. Again, I'm keeping a small chance of a shower in the forecast just because of how this frontal boundary may sluggishly work its way down towards the south. And if it does slow down to a point, it may back in a couple of showers. And we've mentioned that the last couple of days, that it's really iffy. It's trending more optimistic. So let's hope that that continues to be the case here. We go into St. Patrick's Day itself on Sunday. Get ready for that second front moving through the area. 50s for highs, lows down into the 30s. Could be freezing by early Tuesday morning in some of the outlying areas to head into the final hours of winter with a high of 58, close to 60 degrees on Tuesday. That's a little bit below average. We'll go even warmer. Again, you can find out on the 10-day forecast on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app, which is a download in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. You're taking a live look from our high five camera there in Midtown Memphis. Just a gorgeous day today. It has been some amazing weather throughout the last several days. 63 degrees at 10:05. We'll be talking more about your forecast in just a little bit. But again, this is outside of our Midtown studios, 1960 Union Avenue, right down the road from the Overton Park Shell. And the Overton Park Shell is coming up and is committed to not only great music, of course, and we look forward to the music series happening right around the corner, but also mindfulness for good health practice and wellness. That's what we're talking about right now. I want to bring in someone who knows about this health and wellness series that's coming up at the Overton Park Shell. Shelby Smith with Overton Park Shell joining us on the digital desk to talk more about Baptist Health and Wellness Series. Good morning, Shelby. Tell me about the idea to bring about this kind of health and wellness series. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. So first of all, we're so excited to bring back the Baptist Health and Wellness Series. It's been an amazing partnership with Baptist Memorial Healthcare just to, invigorate people, get them back to our lawn, help them practice some more mindfulness and really give them more physical and mental health regimens that they can tend to weekly. It was brought about a couple years back. There was just a need, coming out of the pandemic to gather in a safe space outside, obviously, and just, at the height of the pandemic, both of our mental and physical health across the nation
was, for a lack of better words, plummeting to say. But this opportunity to bring in local fitness professionals from across the city to engage with the community for free on a weekly basis, we think that is just a really pivotal and integral part of our programming.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the pandemic really did a number on all of us, especially when it came to health and wellness. So let's talk about this series, how people can get involved, what you guys are offering in terms of classes, workshops, and that sort of thing.
Yeah, so everything's for free. Well, actually, let me backtrack. Not everything is for free. We have a decent amount of selections of our weekly class offerings, from Twilight Yoga and Pilates, that is led by Sana Yoga from their downtown studio. They come to the Shell and host that here. We have a wonderful partnership with The Croc out in Midtown, where they host a number of different classes. We also host things like cardio fitness, that's led by Odie Tobler. He runs his own practice around town, where he is actually a physical trainer for many people. We have a partnership with 901 Goats for goat yoga, which is available for purchase. Everything that I mentioned prior to that is free. But yes, the only thing that they'll need to do, there's no sign up except for goat yoga. Everything else is you just show up, bring water, bring a towel, because it does get a little sweaty depending on the time of day, and just show up ready to put in some work. Bring your friends, bring your family, bring your kids. It's a really great place for them to, I don't know, start getting active really quickly, and it's free, so you're not gonna break your budget with that. Yeah, we just want more people on our lawn, building more community, and I don't know, just excited to get out and enjoy the spring weather, all that stuff.
Yes, I agree with you 100%. So tell us about the dates, the events, and how people can get involved. We have thousands of people that watch us, Shelby, each and every morning here on the Digital Desk. How can they get involved, and what are the dates involved?
Yeah, so our kickoff day is March 18th, which is next Monday. We start with Twilight Yoga and Pilates that day. And then following that, we have a couple classes. We have 901 Goats coming out to do goat yoga, I believe, that Sunday. But then outside of that, they can keep tabs on what we're doing on our lawn from a health and wellness series standpoint by checking out our website, overtonparkshell.org/health series. And we upload all of those classes. Everything is up to date, weekly and monthly. We host classes Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, sometimes Saturdays and Sundays. So there's plenty for people to take advantage of.
Awesome. It sounds fantastic, and it's something that I think we all need. I mean, even if we do feel good at times, it's always good to just kind of hear and ways to optimize and improve our wellness and our health. And anything else we can mention before we let you go, Shelby?
We're gearing up for a really great season here at the Overton Park Shell, between our health and wellness series, our concerts that will be announced very soon. Not only that, but we have an amazing museum at the back of our shell that really speaks to the history that has been embedded in the roots of the soil of the city. So yeah, just come out, let us know if we can serve you guys in any way. We're just excited to be a part of your daily lives.
Yeah, we're excited for you and everything upcoming in the spring and summer months. Shelby Smith with Overton Park Shell, thanks so much for coming on the Digital Desk. Congratulations on this event, and we look forward to highlighting more amazing events at the Overton Park Shell throughout the year. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. You have a great day.
You do the same. All right, thank you very much. There it is, Overton Park Shell. We're going to take a short break. Back in 60 seconds on Action News 5's Digital Desk. Thank you. Oh, sorry. Miracle, thank you. Andrew Douglas here in the Action News 5 digital desk. According to some brand new data released by SEMrush, over the last 2 years, there has been a huge surge in Americans wanting to turn their passion projects into paychecks, their side hustles into full-time money. And the data reveals that since January 2020, a 421% increase in searches for side hustles to make money. Now, we're about to talk to someone about this very issue, about how she turned her side hustle into a full-time job making 6 figures. Joining me now is Megan Overholt. And Megan, good morning. How are you?
Morning. It's Morgan, by the way, Morgan Overholt.
Morgan, I'm so sorry. I appreciate you joining
No problem.
us. So tell me about your story a little bit, because so many people, as you're right, so many people have decided, hey, what can I do as a side hustle to make full-time income?
Yeah, well, I was actually kind of the lucky one of the lucky ones, to be honest with you. I am no stranger to reinventing myself. Back in 2017, I actually quit my full-time job in the normal corporate world back before it was popular. Essentially rage quit, had all the fun I could stand, got to do something else. But back then, all I really knew to turn to was freelance. And that was a lot better than what I was doing. Do not get me wrong, but the problem is that freelance is still inherently flawed, because it still requires that your butt is in that seat every single day, and that you're like on the clock, and you have deadlines to meet, you've got clients you need to reply to all the time. And it wasn't quite giving me that freedom that I really craved. I had toyed before with the idea of launching something that could produce real live passive income in addition to my freelance before, but I never really took the leap until the pandemic hit. The pandemic, as a lot of y'all know, was inspiring for reinvention. So while I wasn't a stranger to it, I still was very new to the world, had no idea what I was doing, learned from the best, and here we are today. In fact, last year, our second full year in business, we surpassed 6 million page views on thesmokies.com, which is our travel blog website, and we produced over $200,000 worth of revenue. So it's pretty incredible.
That is incredible, and congratulations to you for doing all of that. I have to admit, I did those searches too, and I heard that blogging is one of those great opportunities out there for people to get started and really kind of turn it into a money-making career. How did you do it? If you had to look at some of the key factors of turning that blog into a 6-figure income, how did you do it?
Well, honestly, again, I'm no stranger to figuring out how to reinvent myself and how to launch a successful company. And one of the key things, and I think this applies to every single industry and anything that you want to do in life really, is that you identify the person who's doing the thing that you really want to do, who's doing it successfully, I should add, and you learn what they're doing. And so what we did is we started joining all of these blogging communities online and really looking at people who were already making six-figure, even 7-figure incomes. And we asked, hey, what are you guys doing? And 2 words kept coming up for us. It was SEO and SEMrush. And at the time I was familiar with what SEO was. I thought it was just kind of like sprinkling in little keywords on your website and hoping for the best, hoping you'll rank on Google. But SEMrush was kind of the missing component, because I found out, news to me, that there are real tools you can use online that actually tell you exactly what people are looking for. It tells you what kinds of questions that people are typing into Google on a daily basis. And so our real key to success was figuring out exactly what those questions were and then answering those questions effectively. And the second that we started doing that, our traffic skyrocketed. It was incredible. I think on like month 1, we went from having maybe a couple hundred hits to just a few months later, I think June of 2020, that same year, like I said, the pandemic year, I think we're about like 300,000, 400,000 hits. It was crazy. And it kept growing from there. So a pretty big deal. Pay attention to what other people are doing and do that thing.
That does sound amazing, and that's great stuff. When it comes to turning it, when you saw, okay, so you did the SEO, looking for what search items people are looking for. Did you have to write a lot? Because I've always heard that okay, if I'm going to start a blog, I just have to put tons of writing in. I mean, how many hours did you spend in the front end of this project?
Well, here's the really cool thing. So luckily, again, we were some of the lucky ones in the pandemic. We really only had about like a week or two that was kind of slow, which is really when I launched the website in partnership with my sister Elena and my husband James. But after that, our freelance business really picked up, and we looked at each other and we're like, hey, look, we got to find time to also work on this website without losing our, at the time, primary income, which was the freelance income. And so we kind of just dedicated one day a week to knocking out as many articles as we possibly could. And we did it that way for an entire year, essentially. Almost an entire year, I didn't have a 2-day weekend. I mean, look, y'all, anything worth having in life is going to take a little bit of hard work. That's what I tell people all day long. Nothing in this life worth having is going to be that easily achievable. So I would say, as far as quantifiable hours were concerned, I would say we were each putting in about 8 to 10 hours a week to really get it going. And now, as it's been growing, we've been able to really integrate it into our normal work weeks. In fact, it's sort of even taken over a lot of the freelance that we were doing before. The script is kind of flipped now. Before we were doing like 25% blogging. Now it's more like 75% blogging and 25% freelance, which is pretty cool. But the great thing about what we've done is that it did exactly what I set out to do, right? Now, when I take a day off, I'm still making money. Now, when I go on a week vacation, I still get notifications every day that I'm making money. So that passive income, or more accurately, perhaps I should refer to it as semi-passive, because it still requires a lot of work to get it up and going. It's not a set it and forget it type thing, but it's still making me money even if I step away. And that's really the freedom that I've craved from day one, right? That's the ultimate freedom. What more can you possibly ask for?
So you said 8 to 10 hours a week is generally how much you spent on the blog. When did you start seeing significant income jumps? I mean, did it start at, I don't know, 100, 200, 1,000, 2,000, and then just 1 month or two just jumped from there?
Yeah, like I said before, it was really identifying that correct tool to use. Like, there's a lot of misconceptions out there about what SEO is. Everybody will love to tell you they can get you on the first page of Google. It's just like some kind of magic thing. I thought I knew what SEO was as a freelance graphic designer because my clients asked for it all the time. I thought it was just sprinkling in keywords, but the key was using those 8 to 10 hours that I was talking about earlier effectively, right? Because at one point when we first launched, we were just kind of taking a guess. Like, I always thought the way that you were supposed to do it, or was the way that you were supposed to do it. But after we really started finding the correct tools, and for us, it was SEMrush, and that's kind of one of the industry leading platforms out there if you guys want to look into it. But one of the things that we did was we actually started doing the research, and that showed us specifically what we should be writing. And that's when we really started to see things kind of skyrocket from there, right? So instead of just using those 8 to 10 hours every week that we had to take guesses at what people may or may not like, what Google may or may not like, we were able to really hone in and make sure that this is what people were looking for, make sure this is what people would like, because it turns out the data was really there all along. So for us, it was learning to use that time efficiently and intelligently and making database decisions versus just what we wanted to write about. And that's really when we started to see the results skyrocket. And I would say within a couple of months of adopting that strategy, that's when we really saw things start to take off.
When you first did the blog, Morgan, was it something where you were getting income one way, and then now are you getting income another way? Give me some detail on how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was the other funny thing. When we first launched, we had absolutely no idea how blogs made money. To tell you the truth, probably like most Americans, I thought blogs were something that we had back in the GeoCities days in the 90s or the early 2000s. I had no idea that they were still a thing that was capable of producing income. It was actually my husband, who was one of my partners on the blog, who discovered an ad network called AdThrive and Mediavine, or two different ad networks called AdThrive and Mediavine. It took a few weeks to get accepted into those programs. Today we started out with Mediavine, switched to AdThrive, but there's a variety out there. Those are just two of the top dogs essentially. But Once we got there, we were able to really tap into this programmatic ad network, which produced this incredible revenue every single day. So when you go to our website, if you type in thesmokies.com, you're going to see that there's a ton of ads that pop up. And that's kind of what that programmatic ad network is providing us. That's where most of our income has come from. But there's also this wide world of affiliate sales, right? So for instance, we are a travel blog. There's a lot of attractions in the area near the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, like Dollywood and Anakista, and a variety of museums like the Titanic Museum out there that have these programs that you can enter called affiliate programs, where you help them sell a ticket online by like writing a great review about them or saying, hey, look, I highly recommend doing X, Y, and Z in the Smokies. And if people click the link when you suggest to buy a ticket, you get a little tiny kickback. And so we did ads first, we did affiliate marketing second, and going forward, we're actually going to be doubling down on the affiliates, and we hope to release some digital downloads later this year. But there's a variety of different ways that bloggers make money. Those are just kind of a handful of the ones that worked for us very early on. And of course, there's so many more that I feel like we can tap into in the future. So I'm excited to see where this whole thing goes. I think we're just getting started.
That sounds great. I mean, congratulations once again. You're doing such a great job, Morgan. And I think this is helping a lot of people just kind of understand how it works. A couple more questions here. So how much do you make now? If you don't mind me asking, how much does the blog make now on a monthly basis? And then how much did it, initially start? Because you didn't start right away making six figures. It was a gradual increase. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I mean, the funny thing is, I remember we made our first $6 within about a month of launching the actual blog site. And we were jumping up and down in the living room like it was the most important $6 we had ever made in our life. A couple months later, the first month, and that was an affiliate sale. A couple months later, the first month after we launched on an ad network, I believe our first month's earnings were something like $400 or $500, if memory serves correctly. Fast forward to today, I believe our largest month to date, and of course it varies as we are a seasonal travel blog. The Smokies are a little bit less trafficked in like January and February. We peak in the summer and into the winter, but our highest month so far has been around $35,000, $36,000 in that month. So yeah, that kind of shows you what's possible. And we suspect we're going to be hitting closer to $50,000, maybe even $60,000 by this December. So yeah, like I said, we're just getting started.
Wow.
To go from zero hits in the first month, essentially, to, I believe in our first full year, we passed almost hit 2 million. And then in our second full year to pass 6 million. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I'm kind of hoping that we'll start to see that 10 million digit roll in as far as page views are concerned, hopefully in 2022. We'll see. We'll at least get close.
And it's just focusing on the East Tennessee Smokies area, or are you venturing out from that?
Yes, sir. For the most part, of course, the Smokies, the Smokies and the Blue Ridge Mountains were all kind of intertwined, as you know, in East Tennessee and Western North Carolina. So we sort of cover those areas a little bit. Every once in a while, we talk about Tennessee as a state, but our primary market, we've also done a few stories on Memphis, but our primary market is the Great Smoky Mountains National Park and the surrounding areas, the attractions, etc. That was also a model that we had never really seen anybody else do before. So that was a bit of a gamble, to be perfectly honest with you. We didn't really know that a regional travel blog would work. All you ever hear about are, travel bloggers that go all over the world and explore. But to us, we kind of learned that regional travel was even better, even, I dare say, easier. I don't want to use that word. It's been a lot of hard work, but I dare say easier because we get to target this one area that we know and we love. I grew up in East Tennessee. My husband grew up in East Tennessee. My little sister obviously grew up in East Tennessee. So this is an area that we're intimately familiar with. This is an area that we spent our childhood in. I mean, y'all, if you could have told me when I was like 6 that one day I would make money going to Dollywood, I'd have been like, what? It's not even my dream, and I've essentially turned that dream into a reality. So it's pretty cool.
That is cool. All right. So are there other blogs that you look at and really kind of like or maybe take some ideas from? I mean, are there other ones that you kind of emulate maybe and kind of say, they really taught me a lot of things?
That's one of the tools I was talking about earlier when I talk about SEO. The tool that I mentioned earlier, SEMrush, will actually show you competitive data. And we certainly integrate that competitive data and fill in gaps that our competitors are not addressing, fill in questions that our competitors are not answering. In fact, our main competitors now are actually some of the city and locally run websites. And I believe it was last month, we even started surpassing some of those city run websites who have entire staffs. I think over 40, 50 people, I believe, for the top website working on those. So to bring in more traffic than even them, it's pretty impressive. But to be honest with you, if I were to give you a second giant piece of advice, which is applicable to both blogging and life, is to worry less about what your competitors are doing and worry more about what they're not doing, right? We never seek to copy anybody. I've never been a copycat of anybody. I want to know what people are, I want to know how they're finding success. I want to know the strategies and the tools that they're using and explore those on my own. But I think it's really important to be the red tree in the forest, to be the standout, to do something unusual. Because if you're just a copycat, all you're going to be is a cheap clone at the end of the day.
Very nice, very nice. There are a lot of people taking notes in this newsroom, just hearing you talk right now. And I'm sure when people watch this on in a taped interview later on our website, they're going to be wanting to share this as well. When someone is looking at starting a blog, I don't know, can you give like maybe the top 3 things that they need to do right off the bat when they want to start and say, I want to do just what Morgan is doing? A lot of people like to say, write what you know. Is that one of those things? Did you always like to travel?
Oh yeah, I've always loved to travel, but to me, it's a little bit, there's 2 different components to it. A lot of people say follow your passion, and I say that's great. Follow your passion, but make sure you can make money with that passion, right? We've got a lot of passion. There are several hobbies I have that I'm not very good at, right? I don't think I should probably start a blog on those. There's a lot. I love watching Netflix for a living. There's probably a way to make money doing that, but the thing is that we found a part of our passion. We found one of our passion projects that we knew there was a big audience for. And so that's the piece of advice I would give you there as far as following your passion. Follow your passion, but make sure it makes money. As far as the 3 pieces of advice I would give to brand new bloggers would be as follows. Don't get lost in the details. Launch a simple website. It doesn't have to be the prettiest thing you've ever seen. Just make sure it's a simple theme. Make sure it's fast. That's what's more important because people want to make sure it's loading really quickly without any kind of delays. The second thing I would say is, yes, get comfortable with writing and get comfortable using those tools that I talked about, because that was the real difference maker for us. Before, we were just sort of, when we first launched, writing whatever we thought we should write about because we had no data to go on, formatting it however we wanted to format it because we didn't know any better. So research those tools that will really give you those guidelines to show you exactly how to write, will actually give you a score on your writing and predict with almost 90% certainty exactly where you're going to rank on Google, which is pretty awesome. And then 3, make sure you turn that traffic into dollars. That's of course what you got to do at the end of the day. So research those ad networks that I mentioned earlier, research those affiliate programs, can think about what kind of digital downloads that you can sell. Those are 3 of the most popular ways. Courses, if you're doing something more on the business side, those are also very popular right now, online courses. So yeah, those are probably the 3 things that I would recommend. Don't get lost in the details, build a simple website, learn how to write articles that Google will love and that your readers will love, and then figure out how to make the money, honey.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on this Wednesday. Temperatures are starting off in the 50s. We'll work our way through the 70s this afternoon. Not bad as we go through this Wednesday. A mixture of clouds and sunshine, a southwesterly breeze around 10 to 15 miles per hour. And again, a lot of sunshine still expected today, though at times some high and mid-level clouds may streak through, blotting it out just a little bit, blotting out the sunshine. But that spring warmth, this is more akin to what we would normally see the latter portions of April into early May. 77 in Memphis, Mariana at 77. Abbeville in northern Lafayette County, Mississippi at 76. Maury City going for 78 degrees today. In Crockett County, Bolivar in Hardeman County, 78 degrees this afternoon. Of course, well above average for this time of the year. Average high about 64 degrees. We get better rain chances to come into our area, giving you a first alert to the potential for maybe some heavy rainfall and even a strong storm or two that will roll into the area late Thursday heading into Friday. We stay dry though today outside of maybe a passing shower primarily across northwest Tennessee this morning. But other than that, I think we're going to be dry through the course of the day. The better rain chances, while it looks, yes, we're going to have rain moving into the region on Thursday, this is going to be predicated after sunset. Continues Thursday night into your Friday. And notice there's a band of heavy rainfall that could set up shop, if not in the Action News 5 coverage area, the southern portions of the Action News 5 coverage area, maybe just outside, that could lead up to some flooding concerns heading into your Friday. Not to mention, there's also a risk for a few strong and severe thunderstorms. The higher risk outside of this view here, an enhanced risk for strong and severe thunderstorms across portions of southwestern Missouri and northwestern portions of Arkansas. But we're right on the edge of not just this risk, but also Friday's risk. So we'll see kind of a transfer between Thursday into Friday. There's going to be a risk of some stronger storms that likely impact the Mid-South heading through Thursday evening. There's a window of time there where we will have everything kind of together for that potential. I think mainly from sunset through about 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning on Friday, but then we lend itself to the heavy rain potential. So let's go hour by hour with our first alert futurecast. And what you'll notice again today, outside of a few faults of warm breezes that are going to get a little aggressive from time to time, some clouds here and there, temperatures will be back up into the 70s amid some sunshine through the course of the day. Tonight we're down into the 60s, could be a couple sprinkled in upper 50s where the skies are able to stay clear. Clouds, fog banks could slow you down along your morning travels on Thursday. There could be a passing shower or two during the day on Thursday, but notice to the west, again, as we were mentioning, it looks like this general area, southwestern portions of Missouri, northwestern portions of Arkansas through the Ozarks, that's going to be the area where we have the strong and severe thunderstorm threat. Large hail looks to be the biggest impact with that storm system. And you'll have several clusters of storms that will then congeal into a larger cluster of storms that will make progress across the Mid-South heading through the evening hours. That's Thursday evening. So when you're checking in with meteorologist Spencer Denton here on Action News 5, we may be having a very active evening period of your Thursday where we'll have waves of showers and storms, because this is just one wave. Another one's developing out west. So this is your strong or severe thunderstorm wave. This one will be behind it. This will become the heavy rain threat that could linger into the morning hours of Friday. So a morning commute on Friday could be quite messy, and depending on where exactly that heaviest band of rain sets up shop, because remember, we've got a frontal boundary that's going to be sluggishly working its way southward and in a process of stalling out. That's what's going to help to facilitate those chances for rain that could be heavy at times as that system works its way down towards the south. But again, depending on where that would likely set up, I'd say from I-40 point southward has the higher potential for any flood concerns or widespread flood concerns as the front slips southward during the morning hours. We should get most of the rain out of here by midday. Lingering shower chance, maybe a pop-up pocket of clouds that will clear out for some sunshine. We go into the overnight period of Friday into early Saturday, and we set up a okay weekend. I say okay because there could still be a few isolated showers from time to time, primarily on Saturday morning. Then another front will make progress into the area. That will happen late Sunday into your Monday, ushering in a blast of wintry weather. So while we have been so warm as of late, we're about to see a transition back to the season that we are currently in and about to come clawing out of, heading into spring next week. And the first day of spring, Tuesday, 58 the high temperature. We'll go middle 60s, though, by the time we head towards the first full day of spring. That's next Wednesday, but we got to get there first. Of course, you can find out those details on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app. Download it in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store, anywhere and everywhere where you can look at the forecast. Also, severe weather alerts. Hopefully we don't have to see those popping up on your phones here as we head towards the latter portion of the week. So again, mixture of clouds and sunshine for Wednesday and Thursday. A few more clouds in the skies on Thursday. Chances for a few showers here or there during the day. The bulk of the rain is overnight Thursday into Friday. So when you look at the First Alert Weather app, just know that the devil's in the details. You got to pull out that forecast because they'll say 30% on there and you probably think to yourself, oh, it's not that bad. It's really the overnight period that has the highest rain chance. That's why we have the 80% right there. Morning rain chances on Friday, high near 70 degrees. Then we go into your Saturday, not looking terribly bad for the Silky St. Patrick's Day parade. That kicks off 2 p.m. on Saturday down Beale Street. But of course, a lot of folks are going to be out there a little earlier than that, getting their place along Beale Street. Temperatures in the 50s, 60s by the afternoon hours, a light northwesterly breeze and variably cloudy skies. Again, I'm keeping a small chance of a shower in the forecast just because of how this frontal boundary may sluggishly work its way down towards the south. And if it does slow down to a point, it may back in a couple of showers. And we've mentioned that the last couple of days, that it's really iffy. It's trending more optimistic. So let's hope that that continues to be the case here. We go into St. Patrick's Day itself on Sunday. Get ready for that second front moving through the area. 50s for highs, lows down into the 30s. Could be freezing by early Tuesday morning in some of the outlying areas to head into the final hours of winter with a high of 58, close to 60 degrees on Tuesday. That's a little bit below average. We'll go even warmer. Again, you can find out on the 10-day forecast on the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app, which is a download in the Google Play Store and the Apple App Store.
Back to the Action News 5 digital desk. Let's break down bipolar disorder. It is certainly something that needs more awareness. It needs more educational funding surrounding such a complex condition. Let's bring in now someone who knows this condition all too well and someone who can give us more information about not only awareness, but also education and helping others with bipolar disorder. I'm joined now by Dr. Gustavo Alva, a board-certified psychiatrist, joining us on the digital desk. Dr. Alva, for our audience, can you first talk about what bipolar disorder is and how much it affects people in the U.S.? Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. I'd be happy to. Bipolar 1 disorder, or BP1, is a recurrent lifelong mood disorder that results in functional as well as cognitive impairment. We know that at the present time, nearly 4.8 million Americans live with bipolar 1 disorder. And that's why it's so important to foster an open dialogue surrounding this condition to eradicate stigma and empower those individuals that struggle with it to seek the best care possible through their healthcare professional.
What are the signs of bipolar disorder? Perhaps, there's some parents out there, there's some, older folks that are just trying to figure out exactly what to watch for. Warning signs.
You bet. Bipolar 1 is characterized by recurrent manic and depressive episodes that can last from weeks, if not months. For example, bipolar 1 patients may face periods of unusually intense emotions and changes in sleep patterns, as well as activity levels, all of which can negatively impact that person's day-to-day life.
I know that there are so many challenges associated with bipolar disorder, BP1, as you say. Tell me about the challenges associated not only with this disorder, but also treating this disorder.
You bet. Well, about half of those diagnosed with a mental disorder have issues with their long-term treatment plan. So that's a great starting spot. Considering that 90% of people with bipolar disorder will experience recurrences during their lifetime, it's critical that they identify a long-term treatment plan, which can be crucial for them.
And let's talk about that treatment plan, or at least treatment options out there.
You bet. Well, there's no one size fits all, right? So we're always going to be focusing on what works best for each individual patient. But that's why it's so critical that patients feel empowered to ask questions and work with their doctor to find a treatment option that's going to be the best fit for them. For example, in my practice, I've found that long-acting injectables, or LAIs, can be very beneficial in managing bipolar 1 disorder in patients who are already stable. But how is a patient to know that that's a treatment option if they've never even heard of it?
So, Dr. Alba, let me bring up a situation that directly happened to me. So, I would say about 25 years ago, I was working with someone very closely at a station in Tennessee where I worked on the other side of Tennessee. And it was a photographer that I got along extremely well with. But then he moved to another station and he had a lot of issues at that station. And then one of his coworkers told me that he was in a mental hospital for a while. And then when I caught up with this friend, he was diagnosed with bipolar disorder and talked to me about it. Is that a typical thing that happens? And my second part of the question is, are there any advancements from 25 years ago to today? I mean, are there new treatments, new advancements out there that you could let us know about?
Absolutely. We just made mention of one, right? We didn't necessarily have the ability to use long-acting injectables back then, but I agree with what you just stated right now. Less than 10% of patients who have a mental disorder receive effective treatment for it. And yes, although our society's come a long way in how we talk and approach mental illness, there's still a lot of social stigma out there. And that then means that we need to do everything that we can to empower people with speaking with their healthcare professionals and being able to have an open dialogue about what's affecting them, knowing about new treatment options, including the utilization of long-acting injectables for those patients who are already stable. This can be really liberating in helping to offset the likelihood of additional problems tied in with the illness.
Those injectables sound like such a great breakthrough when it comes to treatment of bipolar disorder. If there's anything else you'd like to mention, perhaps to our audience, we have thousands of people that watch us on the Digital Desk each and every morning. I know that some people have been affected by bipolar disorder, either a family or loved ones. Where can they go for information?
Well, the first step is speaking with one's healthcare provider. But there's a great resource online called learnmorebp1.com. Learnmorebp1.com. Phenomenal resource.
Dr. Gustavo Alba, I really appreciate this conversation. I know it was helpful for people out there. Thank you so much for coming on the Digital Desk and speaking about bipolar disorder, BP1. We appreciate it.
Honored to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Andrew. Have a great rest of the day.
You do the same. Okay, Andrew Douglas back here in the Action News 5 digital desk, and we've been talking a lot about the auto industry during the pandemic and how the supply chain has really affected the auto industry for dealers, for customers out there, microchips, the used car industry, how prices have shot up tremendously, and how some new cars are without microchips, and some dealers are looking at perhaps selling those to customers without the chips in them. But now I want to focus on body shop repairs because they also are being affected by this supply chain issue. And joining me now to talk about this is Jennifer Hinojosa. She is an assurance adjuster here in Memphis with Preferred Auto Insurance Company. Good morning, Jennifer. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing okay, and I appreciate you joining us. I have a direct impact to what we're about to talk about. But first, I want you to explain some of the supply chain issues when it comes to body shops and auto repair places and the issues that they're having right now.
They're having problems getting parts in. They're either back ordered or they come in damaged, and then they have to order them again, and it's just delaying in them repairing the vehicles. And it is not their fault. A lot of people, when these accidents occur, they blame the insurance companies, they blame the body shops. And it's really, when you look at it, it's not their fault at all. It's not the insurance company's fault. It's just the supply chain. It's not getting the parts to the body shops.
Yeah, it seems to be a prevalent problem, a prevalent problem, I should say. And you know, I have teenagers, and they share a car, and so we needed one of the panels replaced on their car, on their vehicle. And I went into a shop and I said, okay, we just need this one panel replaced. And they said, well, it's like 12 weeks before we can get the part in. And I thought, what? I guess that's pretty typical, right?
That's correct. And some of these shops have been having vehicles since last year trying to get parts in.
Oh, my.
And what the people don't understand, when these shops order these parts, most of the time they have to pay for these parts. So I spoke to one shop yesterday that they had ordered parts, and they were actually $20,000 in parts that they had not received. And they're not going to get paid until the vehicle is repaired.
That's brutal. Tell us how this is kind of like a domino effect when it comes to rental cars and rental car companies.
Sure. What happens is, now people that are driving their car, of course you don't want to drive a vehicle wreck, but in these instances you have to. But the people that their vehicles are not drivable, what happens is that we set them up in rentals, and there's no rentals available. And the reason being for that is because the vehicles are held up at the body shops. So the people that their vehicles are in body shops that are in rentals, they're not turning these rentals in because most of the time that's their only transportation. So there's a shortage of rental vehicles in the area because the airport, or what I've been told, that the airport rental companies do not usually rent for accident claims because of the fact they are for the people coming into Memphis.
So obviously you don't want anybody to get into a wreck, but if by chance the unthinkable happens and they're in some sort of wreck or collision, what are you telling your clients best to manage away from this whole issue?
Well, if possible, try not to avoid getting into an accident. Try to drive safely, cautiously. Try to watch, because a lot of times it's not the person who's involved in the accident, it's the person that hit them. What we try to tell them is, they have to be patient. Unfortunately, in this time, it's not our fault. It's not the body shop's fault. It's not even the rental company's fault. It's just the way the world is right now.
Right, and so am I understanding you right? Was there something about a person that was stuck in a rent-a-car for like a year or something like that, or close to a year?
No. At least I have one person that he couldn't get a rental. So usually insurance companies, when you cannot place someone in a rental, we pay them loss of use. It's a minimal fee, but there's one person I'm paying loss of use since January, and there's another person and this is my own personal claim, that I've had to pay maybe 2 months of rental because of the fact the vehicle's not ready. They're waiting for parts. Even a simple thing, sheet metal. I have a claim right now. The body shop is waiting for sheet metal. So it's a vicious cycle. And if you can avoid getting into an accident, please try your best, because excuse me, you may not know when your vehicle is going to be repaired or looked at, or even get into a shop.
Okay. Anything else before we let you go? Anything else that we can tell our viewers about ways to, if in fact you do get into a collision of some sort, ways to maneuver through this whole issue?
First of all, notify your insurance company. Even if you're not at fault, even if you don't think it's something that you need to address, get a claim filed. Get it to start the process. Even if your vehicle is drivable at this point, something down the road might happen, and you want to get at least the vehicle inspected, which the insurance companies will send their appraisers. Most insurance companies will send their appraisers out to inspect.
Okay, Jennifer Hinojosa, thank you so much. We appreciate your
Thank
info.
you.
And hopefully we won't have to deal with this anymore, because no one will get it.
Yes, and everybody drive safe. That's the only advice I could give.
Safely. There we go. Best advice. All right, that does it for us here in the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Have yourself a wonderful afternoon. Enjoy the sunshine out there. We got Ariana Poindexter standing by for Action News 5 midday at the top of the hour. And then you can join us once again for another edition of the Digital Desk, bright and early, beginning at 7 o'clock. Of course, just as a reminder, we go from 7 until 11 each and every weekday morning. It is the Action News 5 Digital Desk on actionnews5.com. It's also on our free news app and all of our digital platforms, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, YouTube, and Roku. And you can watch us on television, digital channel 5.3 or channel 907 on Xfinity. Have yourself a wonderful afternoon.